Let's see how many
All
people.
right,
How
all
many?
right. Star Trek. Yeah. What do you want to see? We're live, by the
I'm
way.
curious to see how many people come onto this one compared to Enterprise, because it looked like Enterprise actually got pretty good
Yeah.
attention, like turnout,
Everybody
which
loves
is
Enterprise. It's great.
well, that surprised me because like if the if Voyager is the redheaded stepchild of like the '90s Star Treks, Enterprise is like the dog.
Because it has a dog and he's a good boy.
Uh,
Anyway, so Mr. Favorite, if I were to say to
yeah,
you, Baezora, 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 you would know what I'm talking about, right?
yeah,
Thank you. My
yeah.
goodness.
Everyone knows that.
Everyone knows that,
Mm,
Gyrinx.
apparently. Okay.
Jeez, catch up
So,
on your Oblivion meme culture.
what's interesting about Voyager is that I don't think I've ever met a single person in real life that's watched the show other than me. So it's just like this fever dream that
Okay.
only I and people on the internet know about.
Well, before we get too
Yeah.
deep into discussion about Voyager, let's preview or let's go over what the stream actually is. So, for these watch-along streams, what you do is you queue up your own episode for the show. In this case, we're watching Caretaker, the first episode of Voyager, the very beginning. And then we're going to count down. We're all going to press play at the same time, and that's it. That's the whole thing. We're just going to watch Voyager. And if you want, you can join the voice chat. There's a link to Discord in the description. It's open to everyone. You can just hop in. Some people, have been here for like a year doing these watch-alongs, and we still don't know what they sound like because they don't want to talk to us. But that's fine, I guess. Anyway.
Should make
Yeah,
some corn on the. Oh, go ahead.
Okay. So I've said a few times that I don't really like Voyager's first season, and I stand by that, but I do really like Caretaker. I think Caretaker's a good intro. I think it's a good premiere. A good pilot, that's what it's called. That's the word I'm looking for.
No, it's a premiere. It
I
aired on
remember-
TV.
A pilot can air. Doesn't always. Did I remember someone saying that they were thinking of having Caretaker be the final episode of the first season rather than the first one? It would have been a crazy
That's
finale.
not something I heard about.
I've
Okay.
never heard of that.
What I
either.
did
like the
hear is that
idea.
the first season is only 15 episodes, but if you listen to the podcast with Kim and Paris, whatever their real names are, Garrett Wong and Robert Duncan McNeil, that's what it is. They talk about how a lot of the season 2 episodes were filmed for season 1, and they just didn't put them in season 1. So it's supposed to end
Nice.
later, like the 37s with the lady who disappeared over the Atlantic. That was supposed to be season 1.
That happened to Boston Legal season 1.
Earhart,
Amelia
that's right.
Earhart.
And the second
you know,
season was really long.
feminist pilot and real person.
I remembered her name.
Season
a
2
minute
really
later,
long?
but someone else was talking then. Also, I checked that the show audio is definitely not going through, but it also wasn't going through last time until it was, so I don't know what's up with that. But it's fine now. 1.5 minutes about to start, so everyone be queued up to Caretaker. Very important. No singing today, unfortunately. It's tragic.
Heading out to Eden.
I'm really considering, like, just making that a video on, like, Tuesday. Just putting the instrumental under our singing and just releasing that.
Oh boy.
I think it would be great. Really draw
Yeah.
people into the stream so they can see what they've been missing. If they don't watch the streams.
Tempted to microwave some corn on the cob for the iconic corn on the cob Caretaker scene, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, you'll
It
know
gets
what
a
I'm
little
talking
bit
about
weird
when
in
you see it.
Caretaker. It's a little weird. Anyway, 30 seconds, everyone be ready. Everyone be ready. We're gonna go. Oh, and I should stream the countdown to Discord. That'd be important. There you go. If you guys want that, you can use that countdown.
Thank you.
If Voyager's today was yesterday, yesterday was Enterprise. You missed our glorious singing. We all sung along, except Michael. Jesus, Michael. But for now, press play in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, play. It was amazing.
Ooh,
We were all out
an
of sync.
opening
We were
crawl.
all out of key.
I feel like this is a different franchise all of a
Yeah,
sudden.
this
An
looks
opening
like,
crawl in my Star Trek. Some consider them heroes, but to the government of the Federation in Cardassia, they are outlaws.
I love this Voyager font we see. Like, it's so dated. Actually, all the 90s Star Trek typography is fantastic.
It's Tuvok, B'Elanna, and Chakotay.
Oh, Chakotay.
Only main
hooray.
characters on the shuttle.
Hooray, Chakotay's here. Oh no.
Chakotay's, it seemed like they had a bunch of plot lines lined up for him, and then they just didn't make them.
Chakotay is the worst main cast member in all of Star Trek.
Ooh,
In my
I still don't
opinion.
know how the Maquis got Federation fighters. I guess former officers that defected stole them. A la Star Trek
like,
3.
Why'd they steal all the dumpy ones?
That was a nice Starfleet issue CRT screen, don't you think? CRT monitor.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. How come nobody from the Maquis stole, like, a galaxy class?
Yeah.
Not the whole galaxy, just a galaxy class.
How come no one in the Maquis stole a ship that we see used by the Federation prior to, Deep Space Nine coming on?
Yes, the Maquis, of course, are introduced in Deep Space Nine, like season... I feel like they're season 2, early season 2.
I think they actually might be in TNG first.
They're definitely introduced. They are in TNG, but they're introduced in DS9 in the episode The Maquis.
Oh, okay. Look at that. Look at that CGI. That's some tasty CGI right there.
Oh, look at that pixelation on that Cardassian ship.
Oh, yeah, we're...
Oh, no.
Voyager's not getting remastered in a million years.
Is that CGI or is that just video compositing and they were using models at this point, I thought?
That didn't...
think...
I think that was CGI based on the pixelation around it. Usually composited models, they might look funky, but they don't look like that. I could be wrong.
I thought Voyager did all of the compositing in video instead of optically.
I might be wrong. I don't know. I think it's CGI, but I don't know. They did also have to have it, like, arc hard to the side when it got hit by the plasma.
Well, you just move the camera.
Or would it be easier to do in CGI? Oh, I'm also supposed to blur the screen. There we go. So now you can see vaguely what's happening. It doesn't really matter. The timestamp's the only important part.
The Voyager theme.
Why are there no lyrics?
Why
are there... What do you mean there's no lyrics? Of course there's no lyrics. It's the right way to do it. Why is there no opening monologue?
The Voyager theme sounds and looks cool, but the only problem with it is that all of the visuals are never something we see the ship do in the show, or like that make any sense. Like if you're going...
Well, there's a shot of an ice planet in a second, and we do see Voyager crash into an ice planet later.
I guess. We do see the Voyager fly in a straight line a lot. But like...
Yeah.
There's an impossibly small planet coming up.
Yeah, where the rings are... The rings are like 30 kilometers across
like,
max.
Like way too small to like exist. Is it this one? No.
No.
It's coming up.
It'll be very obvious when it happens. In fact, it's the thumbnail shot.
It's also kind of a bummer that the Voyager flying around in the intro looks a million times cooler than Voyager flying around in the show. Where it's just flying,
this is the tiny
they just
planet.
reuse the same shots.
To tell how it's a tiny planet, look at the reflection on the rings, and that reveals just how tiny the rings are.
Oh.
Like that shot,
Right.
that shot could conceivably be a thing if the reflection was just absolutely minuscule. If it was just a camera perspective. But no, it's just actually small.
It's a tiny planet. We
So in trying to make it look more realistic, they made it look less realistic by adding the reflection.
we should name that tiny planet something because we're going to be seeing it like 136 more times.
Oh no,
Planet
it's beautiful New
Ryan.
Zealand.
Oh no, it's New
I've
Zealand.
talked about beautiful New Zealand so much for the penal colony, and now we finally get to see it.
Oh, it's beautiful, and it definitely isn't just a stage in California.
This isn't Los Angeles. This is New Zealand. It said so on the screen.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They wouldn't lie to us.
Nicholas Locarno.
400 years in the future,
God.
and we're still using New Zealand as a penal colony.
I was watching something about Voyager. I think it was the retrospective thing on Voyager, and they're talking about how they were going to make this Nick Larcano and they didn't because they gave some funny reason. But I know that the reason they really didn't do it is that they would have had to pay royalties to the writer of First Duty for every appearance of Nick Larcano.
Yeah.
And they didn't want to, so they're just like, yeah, Tom Paris.
This is going to sound crazy, but I recognize those trees.
Oh, really?
I feel like
From where?
Is this the same park that's going to be used when we get to Caretaker and they start offering people corn?
Possible. They
Is this
they
McKinley
filmed
Park?
the
I feel like
scenes
it's
the
always McKinley
same
Park.
day.
So they say that they
I
would have
actually recognize those trees too. I went to high school with them.
Oh, I see.
Oh,
So
yes,
there's
Michael?
that story about them having to pay residuals to the writer is actually just an urban legend.
That
That's
story
not
is
true.
generally considered to be apocryphal.
Yes,
Hmm.
because the writers were like staff writers on Star Trek. I mean, it was Ronald D. Moore and Brandon Braga, and like here's Brandon Braga. So like,
But they also had like third party scripts in Next Generation
yeah,
that they paid.
Well, what was
That's-
Tom
it wasn't
Paris
that episode.
doing with his prison
Let's
labor
find-
before he
Let's
got
see
picked
who the
up?
writer,
He
who
was
the
scanning
credited
the
writer
bushes.
for First
I
It's
just
Duty
fine.
told you
is.
who they were. I just
Okay.
looked it up on IMDb.
Oh,
Ronald D.
okay,
Moore,
cool.
and Brandon
Logical.
Braga.
So
But
it's
like the
is it ever-
residuals thing
ahead.
is not a huge deal. Not only that, but like if they wanted to reuse the character, they absolutely could have. What their reasoning is, I don't really know the truth, but it's not that.
so
Shoot, was
Chakotay, does
Chakotay-
Chakotay come from the colony where
Yeah, the
Picard
awful
tried to evict them
traveler
from the
Wesley
planet?
episode.
Yeah, the
No,
fake
I
Native
don't
American
think he does.
traveler.
I think when we see his history later on, he actually grew up on Earth. So like I don't think that's him because we've heard those.
But it would be an
Those
excellent
news-
explanation for why he's in the Maquis, because they were given to the Cardassians straight up.
Right. Yep. That would have been a
He-
nice
he-
tie-in. That would have been a nice tie-in.
I mean, that
If
was
it's
Chakotay
Mark
would tell you that he
Mark-
joined the
okay.
Maquis to defend his home planet, Earth, from being given to the Cardassians, but everyone knows.
Jeez, talk about appeasement.
so
Yeah.
he's portrayed as
Space
a
Nine.
Oh, it's
sympathizer.
the last time we'll ever see Deep Space Nine on stream ever.
He's
Except
portrayed as a sympathizer to the Maquis, who was a Starfleet officer, and that he left Starfleet to go to join the Maquis. And I think that some of his sympathies fall in with the Native Americans who ended up on that planet, but he's not part of
Don't-
their tribe.
Oh,
Oh,
you
don't
say
make
this is
it
the
weird,
last time we're
Tom.
going to see Deep Space Nine on scene, but just wait till we start watching the Deep Space Nine movies. Oh wait,
Just wait till we see
That
the
is
Deep
some-
Space Nine cameo in Lower Decks in
That's some
30
weird
years.
space flirting.
Yeah.
base flirting.
Well, do you always fly women at warp speed only when they're in visual range? Who's that? What is that?
Yeah, what does that even mean?
Well, that just means you're going to crash into them because that's
If
way
you're
too
warping
close.
faster than the speed of
to
light,
use
it's
warp
something that you
speed.
can see with your eyes. That's dangerous.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Especially if it's a person size.
So
So
going
let's
back
talk
to
about
hang
Let's
on.
talk. Wait, real quick. Can we talk about the specs they just gave of Voyager? Where,
Sure.
like
Don't worry about it.
this is how they're differentiating it from like previous ships and stuff. And it's like the main setting, and they gotta show us it off and give all these glamour shots. They're like, it goes fast and it's powered
Morn.
by ooze.
Hey, Court.
I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh, no, I forgot again. Oh, I remember again. I did it. Okay, so the space flirting with Tom Paris. Going back to the to that podcast with Harry Kim here and Tom Paris. Robert Duncan McNeil, who plays Tom, does say a lot that, yeah, Tom's kind of a womanizer in the early seasons. He's not really too keen on the character. Gets better, but
I'm not keen on Tom Paris either.
I'm also not keen on his hair gel. I don't think that style works for him.
I really connect with Tom Paris. I really feel like a kindred spirit.
If you identify with season 1 Tom Paris, you need to do some serious self-reflection. Something ain't right there.
Definitely. Goes without saying.
Tom Paris seems like the kind of person who would want to do a car. I'm just saying.
Do a what?
A car.
Kim. That's
Jeez.
a Korean name, so he's Korean, right? Harry Kim? Not the actor, Kim. No, apparently the producers thought he was Chinese. Cash or credit, does he have either? What's the ratio of Cardassian Lex to Federation credits?
Yeah, and do Federation credits even exist?
Sometimes, for sure.
Okay, honestly, if Harry Kim bought the entire trio, there would be worse decisions considering he's about to get sucked into the bone zone for 70 years, and so you might as well spend your money while you can. And he might even just be something with a currency that doesn't even exist that Quark's gonna accept.
Oh, there's Roga Danar. He was the genetically engineered soldier from TNG.
Oh.
And now he's chief medical officer. Good for him. Well, he's chief medical officer for the moment.
I'm sure he has a very long
good thing he has such an important
career ahead of him.
He had a one-off role in TNG. I'm glad to see he becomes a series regular. The background with the vertical stripes, it looks good except when the camera is panning. Then it's all doesn't look right. It doesn't do well with interlacing.
This doctor's a prick.
Yeah, but so is the doctor we're gonna get later, so it's fine.
He's arguably more tolerable in a lot of ways.
That's not just the EMH's generic program. That's specifically tailored for Voyager.
Puppies. We could have had dogs on Voyager.
We could have had an Irish setter on Voyager.
We could have had a bunch of puppies. I mean, we do get
a Starfleet captain has a dog. Impossible.
We do get a brief instance of Janeway with the dog later in the series.
Yeah.
Well, so many people complained about that. They fixed it in the subsequent series that they had, which we just happened to have watched yesterday.
We have seen an Irish setter live in person on Star Trek before. Beverly was turned into an Irish setter briefly.
By Q, yeah.
Yes,
when she was
Beverly setter.
Barking at him.
Chirrut? Who's Chirrut? Star Trek.
How high-tech that whole video conference with your loved one back home was at the time.
No idea.
Chirrut is a character from Elite Force.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it. Of course you would do that. I do that all the time.
Ma'am is acceptable on a crunch. So how many times are people going to call it Captain versus Ma'am, I wonder?
Yeah. If only someone could create if only someone could create a compilation of all the times they mess up and upload it to this very channel.
It's an interesting
Wonder
idea.
how many times she gets called sir.
Oh, it's first. Does the first officer here even get a name?
Who cares?
I don't remember, but I don't think so.
Commander
it's
At least
Expendable.
on screen.
Well, let me check Memory Alpha. If anyone knows, it's them. Star
There's
Trek.
so
Voyager.
many. There's
Cavett.
so
His
many
name is
red
Cavett.
shirts on this. It's so weird seeing these dudes that are definitely going to die in like 15 minutes. But like once the show actually starts, it's just crazy. It's like, yeah,
Is first
Only-
Officer Cavett the end goal or like the end state of Commander Riker, where he's just so much older than the captain, but he never wants to leave? He's perfectly happy with his job.
yeah, he is Arrested Development. Bye,
And if
Deep
he
Space
if he likes to
Nine,
be a first
see you
officer more
again
than
in
a captain,
TV
that's
never.
fine. He
Yeah,
can
I
be a
think
first
they
officer.
just him and the guy.
And hello, Voyager flyby shot, which we'll see another 300 times.
Less responsibility as the captain, but you still get a lot of respect. And no
And
more
you get to
pay.
go on away missions.
And you get to go on away missions. All the away missions.
The pay is exactly the same.
Yes.
Well, Riker likes to go on away missions because he gets to meet interesting new people and
To shoot with his
Bolian
gun.
style. Get Bolian style.
yeah,
That's
to
what it
shoot
is.
that's one way of putting it.
With a phaser.
Yep. Or his fists. Or
Both
his
fists at
trombone.
once.
Mm-hmm.
But then Riker doesn't really get to punch many people. It's mostly his stunt double.
Yes, his stunt double, William Decker. Oh man, that sounds familiar. One time I knew a guy looked just like him who did something almost exactly the same.
Ate bad tomato soup? Exactly the same. I think. What are you talking
I'll
about?
tell you the first
mean
duty of every Starfleet officer.
The accident.
The true meaning of Christmas.
Yeah.
The true meaning of Christmas was the officers we got killed in an accident on the way.
The true meaning of Christmas is that the first duty of every Starfleet officer is to the truth, whether that be personal truth or
The first duty of
whatever.
every Starfleet officer is to friendship.
Do people
Friendship.
still celebrate Christmas in the 24th century?
I don't know about the 24th,
They
but
do as a
Captain Kirk does.
tradition.
Do you think by the 24th century, Christmas has just wrapped its way all around the entire year?
Yeah.
Oh man. How come we never had Halloween episodes? How come we never had the kids on Enterprise trick-or-treating?
We get a
quarters
ghost
to
story
quarters?
episode. That kind of counts.
Yeah,
Do
we
you
get
mean-
the haunting.
Do you
of
mean
Deck-
Sub Rosa?
No, the haunting of Deck 12. Also the Sub Rosa, though, yes.
and that's really all you need in terms of Halloween episodes.
God, why can't
Well,
we
I would-
remaster this? Look how blurry it is. I can barely see Tom Bears when he's on the other side of the room.
I would
like
love to
watching-
have seen
It's like being on the ship without my
trick-or-treating on the
glasses.
Enterprise.
Wait, that guy in the yellow looks very familiar.
He kind of does.
I am 100%
Oh,
certain
shoot,
he's
can
in
we
another
use-
series, but I don't know who he is. Scott McDonald.
Scott,
Okay.
yeah.
Scott McDonald. Is he in Enterprise? Star Trek? Oh, he's in some Star Wars. Oh, he's Commander Dolam. He's the big evil reptilian in Enterprise. He's also a Jem'Hadar. He's also Tosk, the first guy to ever come through the wormhole on DS9. Oh, and some Commander Nivek. Remember the guy from when Troy was a Romulan? He was the guy that brought her there. Oh,
Why
yeah,
can't they
that's
just go to
totally
warp
CG.
right now?
Look at that rasterization.
Oh, it was ray trace.
Race
I'm
for
sure.
impact, Cavett. Cavett, where are you going, Cavett?
No, jump in front of the explosion. Throw your
Yeah,
body into it.
he would have
You
braced for
were at
impact,
a
but he really
railing.
needed to go to the bathroom.
You could have held
Yeah,
onto the rail.
he was perfectly fine where he was. He just had a death
In this
wish, I
green
think.
smoke.
He just threw himself at the exploding console. He's like, which console has the most photon grenades stuffed in it? I'm jumping at it.
Captain, get down. I'll take the bullet.
He was tired of being first officer. He knew his career was going nowhere.
What happened to Janeway's hair?
If they what you call it? If he dies in the line of duty, his family gets a pension. If he gets
He was insurance
dismissed,
fraud.
they don't get anything.
It's not really fraud. He did die. It just turns out that they would have gotten the insurance payout anyway because he's presumed dead.
There was a treasurer, I believe it was treasurer of Pennsylvania, that killed himself live on TV. So his family would get their pension because he had been framed by his political opponents. All they had was like the testimony of this one guy against him, and then eventually the guy recanted and said it was just completely fabricated.
My God. That's all right. The Enterprise got like 3 galaxies over and they came back in a day.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be just like this. I'm sure we can expect the same level of competence from the Voyager crew.
Well, hold on. Barclay did kind of help them get home, sort of.
Oh, I'm not even talking about Barclay. I'm talking about that time they went to different galaxies because of the Traveler.
Well, where no one has gone before?
One of the time they went to a different galaxy because of, or at least really far away because of Barclay.
Yes, they went.
But you did say specifically 2 galaxies over, and which.
There's also where the original Enterprise, or maybe it was the A, I don't remember, where one of the old Enterprises went to the center of the galaxy in like 10 hours.
That was the A. That was in Final Frontier. That was Star Trek V.
Super easy. Barely an inconvenience to get to the center of the galaxy.
Yeah.
Star Trek Voyager is like lower decks. Like it has the same level of crew competence. But it's not a comedy.
They seem reasonably. Look at those big gloves that Kim is wearing. Look at those fire retardant gloves.
Not a comedy.
Warp core microfracture? That sounds.
Oh no, we'll need to get a little micro sealant.
That sounds like you're about to die.
But yeah, that looks a little bit larger than a microfracture.
Oh, that guy. I don't remember his name. That guy, he stops appearing in like season 4 because the writers thought they killed him, but just didn't. They just forgot him. So he shows up again like once in season 7 for them to finish and kill him off.
For them to kill him, yeah. Yep, for no reason. It was during the episode Friendship 1?
Friendship 1, yeah.
Friendship 1?
Carey? Yep. Lieutenant Carey? That sounds right.
Yeah. He was supposed to be
our main man,
the chief engineer.
Best character on the show.
Other than Neil.
Medical tricorder.
Medical tricorder.
Why do they even have the dinky-ass non-medical tricorders in the medical room?
He doesn't. It's him.
The guy had it on his belt and just handed it to him.
Oh.
Because he was scanning the ship and how it was exploding around him. Well, there's a little need for concern. You said the crew is incompetent, but look at that from the Doctor. The Doctor knows exactly what he's doing.
The Doctor came in like one of those plastic packages you have to open up with scissors. He doesn't count. He's not a person. Standard issue.
I'm surprised they're using the term kilopascals, because pascals are real units of measure. Usually they make something up.
Ah,
I would expect them to be like, oh, it's 2,500 kilomods.
Wow, she returned to her station in a jiffy.
Real fast. Very efficient. If the lights are flickering, how come the holographic emitters aren't flickering? How come they're
Separate
fine?
power systems.
Oh, of course. Oh, there's the corn. Well, there's some corn.
Horsies. They should have brought the horsies with them.
If they ride the horses, they could get back to the Alpha Quadrant super fast.
The horsies could pull the ship.
Lemonade sounds great right now.
I love some lemonade.
This needs a remaster so badly, I couldn't even tell who was on the away team. Now that they're closer to the camera, I can see, but when they were first walking up, not a clue. Yeah, those cookies look good, but do you guys have any corn?
Yeah, do you have corn on the cob?
Hey.
Everyone just shows up at exactly
Oh, there's the
same
caretaker
time.
himself. That's him.
Oh, how welcoming! They seem like pretty nice guys.
The caretaker
pretty
looks pretty
glad.
happy for a man who's about to keel over dead in 20 minutes.
I wish I got transported to the Delta Quadrant. It looks fun.
Wow. You get to listen to some banjo. You get to do
Yeah, I
some
don't know
dancing. You
why
get to eat some
everyone's so
corn.
upset.
Great.
I would have loved it if they had like one person, like one Starfleet officer doing the square dance with all the holograms while everyone else just like
Yeah, why not?
stood around
They should
looking
have.
upset.
When in Rome.
So
So,
she decides to destroy the array
yes.
as opposed to like using it to get home
Corn
and leaving like
Going
I
on the
don't know,
cob.
Cobb. Hell yeah. I love
a
corn.
time bomb behind.
Corn's
would-
pretty good.
Just leave Chakotay, have him like press a bomb with his finger in space, and then that's kind of, I think that's a win for everyone.
All you have to do is
Chakotay's
put a
gone.
countdown on it, and you...
Akampa, you're safe. You get to go back to the Alpha Quadrant.
I mean, doing what they do with the array is absolutely a Prime Directive violation.
Doggy.
Oh, what a good dog. Oh, I don't think I included that dog in my compilation of dogs.
Oh,
Oh, I need to remake it.
Well, it's not a real dog.
Well, but the actor dog is a real dog. And that counts. It's a good dog.
Oh, the
Yeah, no, that's
Amazon
100%
subtitles
sexual
just called
harassment.
him
Leave Tom alone.
Harris.
Sporocystian. Oh, they could use the spores here to fund a new type of drive to fuel it. And they could just get home in an instant.
Oh no! Discovery's engines runs on caretaker remains. Oh no!
It's exactly like the Equinox. It runs on Xeno remains.
Oh no! Well, maybe it's just a live. It's just a living caretaker in the Discovery's engine core, just captured in perpetual torment. Like, remember the tardigrade that was like, ah!
The Caretaker is a tardigrade. I appreciate the tardigrade impression, by the way.
It wasn't happy. It was very upset.
Oh, what a good dog.
Not the dog.
Notice how its tail is out of frame because it would just be too excited, having a good time.
Yes. Corn on the cob? Is that corn on the cob?
ensigns on the cob with the pitchfork.
The pitchforks are probably to impale the corn on the cobs on it, so you can eat 3 times as much.
What do you mean they don't care for the corn?
I asked for corn. Hello,
Look,
do
what
I
you
have
do
a
with the
say in
corn
this?
is you get some tin foil, you put the corn in it, and you cover it in butter and black pepper. You wrap it up and you put it in the oven. You cook your corn on the cob, and then you
I
have
do
corn.
salt. I actually make my
Salt is
corn
good
on the
too.
cob in a big pot, and I boil it.
I've seen people leave it in the husk and soak it in water, and then they put it in the husk on the barbecue, and then you peel it out of the husk and put your salt, pepper, and butter on it after it's cooked and
Yeah,
steamed
you can do that too.
in the husk.
I have a
There
friend
are so
who
many
is
ways you can cook corn.
I have a friend who is an international student, and I was talking about corn on the cob, and he's like, "What's corn on the cob?" And he's like, "Oh, you've never had corn on the cob? You're in for a treat." And I like make corn on the cob, and I give it to him, and he's like, "This is just corn. What
Accurate.
makes
Yeah.
it? I know what corn is. What makes this so special?"
Yes, Voyager is in the Delta Quadrant at this timestamp. They're currently in the Caretaker's array,
They're in the
being stabbed in the
caretakers.
chest with the
Yeah,
needles.
they're in the caretakers.
They're in the Alpha Quadrant for like all of 7 minutes, right?
Yeah.
This is a really inefficient way to like get a blood sample or whatever they're trying to do here.
All they need is a fragment of DNA, and they just you
Yeah,
don't need
all
to
they need
stab
is a
someone for
single positronic neuron.
that. Of course.
They can suck the ship across the galaxy. Couldn't they have just scanned it from across the galaxy and be like, "Oh yeah, nobody there's compatible anyway, so let's just leave it
Yeah.
alone."
Also, can we talk about how the caretaker's big plan here is to freaking scoop people up from across the galaxy and figure out whether or not he can get laid?
My God. Terrorists. Well, you found him. Good job. You did it.
Yeah, mission accomplished. Now let's go home. Episode's over.
Wait, Chakotay, why are you giving out terrorist cells names? Don't tell her that it's Balana.
Yeah. Tuvok thinks it's a good idea. Definitely trust what Tuvok's judgment is.
Yeah.
Yes. You don't say.
Wouldn't the transporter have disabled the weapons in transport?
Yeah.
Well,
Come
they use
on,
their own
Star
transporter.
Trek, where's your continuity?
They use their own transporter. They have one.
Yes.
Of course he was. That's his whole job. So everyone here is saying Chakotay, but when we get Balana on screen, for some reason she pronounces it like Chakotay. Chakotay or Chakotay?
Chocolate.
Chocolatay? That doesn't sound right.
Mhm.
I think that might not be
He's-
accurate.
He is from the land of chocolate.
Now that someone said that, I want to see a likeness of Commander Chakotay in chocolate, please.
Yeah, can we have a video on that, Ryan?
Well, videos of people doing baking or cooking badly is quite popular. I wouldn't have the slightest clue where to begin. I
3D
guess I could
print
get a whole
molds.
bunch of chocolate bars, melt them in a pot, let it solidify, so I just have this big block of chocolate, and then just carve.
3D print a mold. We'll just pour it in.
That's the coward's way. And then you can't eat it because it was touching the plastic and it's not food safe. Does he want the corn? What? Why does he?
And he wants the corn, and he wants to be
You
harassed
can
by the
get corn from the
holograms.
replicator.
On the
Yeah,
top,
but
even.
not the kind
Yeah.
that they have.
There are 7 varieties of corn on file. Do you want it plain, on the
Only
cob,
7? That's a staple.
cream corn,
Please.
Swiss corn,
Swiss
maize?
corn. Bolian style.
Ah,
Does it have blue corn?
Yeah, maybe.
yeah, he's all sad now that his party's over. He had one last bash to celebrate the end of his life, and they didn't even participate. Minor bipedal species? Wait, minor maybe, but what's wrong with being bipedal?
Yeah.
I like being bipedal.
Almost everyone's bipedal.
Well, what the caretaker could do here is he could just kill them so he doesn't have to worry about it, and then they'll leave. He's looking for more sporocysts, apparently. I'm not totally clear what his plan is here. I get he's looking for someone with compatible genetic makeup, but I don't know what he expects the end result to be.
Um, yeah, I don't know.
Is he planning to like infect someone with his essence and take over their body? What's the plan here?
He's gonna make a baby, and then the baby will run the planet.
What if the baby doesn't want to run the planet?
Oh, it's his array, and in his array, the baby will have to
Well, they're
follow his
under his
rules.
solar panels. They'll follow his rules.
Yeah. Oh, those aren't solar panels. Those are
They're
quasi-metric
drama
flux
panels.
industers.
Ooh, that's the guy from the drumhead, the Betazoid. Sabin, that's his name. Oh,
Ew.
that's quite a pimple to pop.
Latex.
Alana's makeup looks so different here.
How many times do we see someone in Star Trek just run into the doors like an idiot and they don't open?
We got 2 classics there. Running into a door that won't open. And we got B'Elanna hammer fisting a nurse. Which sounded weird
this is
the way I
also
phrased
maybe
it.
the
She
first time
punched
we
a nurse
see
with both fists at the same time.
we see two people try and go through a door at the same time and almost bump into each other.
Couldn't couldn't the caretaker just like transport his energy generator to the planet?
Yeah, put it in the ground.
Does he have to use this method of shooting the planet with energy?
Every door on the starship should be a revolving door. Change my mind.
Even on
It would
the
take up more
elevators.
space.
But they'd be airtight while you're using them.
The world needs more revolving doors.
Nucleogenic particles in the atmosphere. Wait, but where did the water go, though? Because you don't need... If there's no rain, the water doesn't just disappear. What happened to the oceans?
The caretaker drank them all with his big straw.
Oh, okay. Here's an opinion. Tuvok is the best Vulcan in any of the series, even surpassing Spock.
You mean he's the best as a Vulcan? He's the best at being Vulcan?
Or he's just like
Yeah.
the best at his job out of all
He's
the
the best
Vulcans.
portrayal of a Vulcan.
Well, that's
Okay,
just because
yes.
he's a Vulcan.
He's full Vulcan.
Yeah.
Well, like, so is
feel-
T'Pol. So is
T'Pol is full Vulcan.
Valeris.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but Tuvok got to go on Jeopardy.
So is Ensign Vork and Ensign Torek, who are twin brothers.
So you're not wrong about Tuvok being probably one of the best Vulcans in Star Trek.
I'd like to point out there's only like 12 Vulcans in Star Trek.
Not one of the
though.
best, the
But
best.
I think that T'Pol is not that bad either. Honestly, I
didn't
really
say she
like.
was bad. I just think Tuvok's better.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm getting at essentially. T'Pol's pretty good too.
A little bit of vocal fry on Jolene, but it was the early 2000s, so that was everybody.
Well, see, the funny thing is, I noticed when we were watching that episode yesterday, her voice was like actually higher pitched than it was in later episodes. So, like, she went for a deeper pitch later on.
Interesting.
Hi, guys.
Hey, welcome to the Delta Quadrant.
The B.
What B?
We're having a sugar cookies and lemonade
a spelling
B.
bee?
No, she uses the word B.
Here's your
for
word.
her little
Sporocystian.
Oh, this is a fun shot. Look at all that debris. There could be a Cheyenne class in there.
Oh, who could it be?
Who could it be?
By the
It's
gods
a
of Ethan
beaver.
Phillips.
You know, he's obviously very unlikable. Like, I think his worst moment is when he controls Kess with Tom Paris. I see
Yes,
the way
that's
he
all
looks
deeply
at you.
uncomfortable to watch.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole relationship with Cass is problematic.
Yeah. But the thing is, though, I feel like, I saw something about Jar Jar Binks for the original Star Wars prequel, the Phantom Menace, and everyone loves to hate him. Obviously, he's a very dislikable character, but Jar Jar being a novice kind of is our introduction to the entire plot.
He's not a novice. He's a Sith Lord who's pretending to be a novice.
But he introduces us plot-wise to the Gunga and to the Naboo, and so like he's in the role of the audience, and he's just
that doesn't mean anyone can stand him. I mean, they could have had a good character be role in the audience avatar.
So Neelix plays that role.
If George Lucas hadn't chickened out and had him be the big reveal in episode 2 or 3, would have been great.
So the caretaker sends the ships back when he's done with them. And so that just makes me think that maybe like Neelix just killed all these people and that's where the debris field came from.
Killed them with what? His cooking?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The yellow root stew.
Yeah.
He used the yellow root stew to do it.
He like
My
stood. He
God.
like climbed out of his ship and he like flew over the other ships.
Something
And then he
I
like climbed out of his ship in his spacesuit with like a bowl of soup, and he just poured it over the side, and the ship exploded.
I mean, he does manipulate them into rescuing Cass later in the episode. But something I really like about this introduction for Neelix is that when he says, "Whoever you are, I found this, debris field first." Basically, he's a scavenger. He's like looking through a garbage, yard. And he kind
His
of
ship
winds
is
up
literally a garbage scow.
and then he winds up being our guide to the Delta Quadrant.
I don't understand how water scarcity can be a thing. Like if you live in space, like just go to the sun, pick up some hydrogen, go to a planet, pick up some oxygen, add a little
Not
bit
even.
of energy, which you have plenty of if you have faster than light travel, and there you go.
It's not even that complicated. A lot of floating stuff, at least in our solar system, is just big chunks of ice.
Yeah, exactly. It's like one of the most common substances in the universe.
It's made
Except
up
it's
two of
not
the most
water
common
ice, it's
elements,
other
real easy
ice.
to make.
Oh,
Put
of
them together
course,
and you
they-
just ignite it and you get water. Congratulations, you did it.
maybe. Although you are right, it is ice. Maybe they just don't. They figured out warp travel, but they haven't figured out how to melt things.
Yeah, but like a lot of the ice in space is like methane ice. So,
Oh, wait.
No, I mean,
Pay attention to the
specifically on
introduction here of Tuvok and
a lot of
Neelix, how
water
they... I am Vulcan. Neelix.
Yeah, he just calls him Mr. Vulcan for
Now
the rest of the
he
series.
is forever Mr. Vulcan because that's how he introduced himself.
Yeah.
But you were
That's
saying
it,
something, Michael? What's up?
No, I
Okay.
just was saying that there is also a lot of water ice in our solar system.
Yes.
Yep, we found it on Pluto also.
That's quite a jacket
Yeah.
he has.
I can't believe that Tuvok freaking
Well-
meets a new culture and is just like, you should take a bath.
maybe it's just not so common on this side of the galaxy or in this particular
Okay.
area where
I wonder
where
what
their
those-
engines can reach.
In Enterprise, they said that Vulcan females have a heightened sense of smell and think people smell bad. But does Tuvok, as a Vulcan male, think that humans smell bad?
Hey, if the caretaker is looking for a mate, does that mean he thought Harry Kim was suitable?
I think that's definitely what he said. What he
Harry
thinks.
Kim did win Sexiest Man 2000 whatever.
Okay. That's my theory now.
Yeah.
Which is why he stayed on the show and Cass did not.
But he was ensign throughout the whole show, and Tom Paris starts out as a lieutenant.
Tom Paris starts lieutenant, gets demoted, and then gets promoted again before Harry Kim.
Wait, did Harry Kim get
There's-
sedated when Bolano was sedated, even though he was just sitting around looking stupid?
Nah, he was just chilling. He's cool.
Oh,
The
okay.
I think what's his name? Berman didn't like Garrett Wang, and the only reason
It's
they
pronounced
didn't
Wong.
replace him,
Wong.
Garrett Wong. Okay, well,
Those are different words.
on Google it has an A on it.
It's spelled with an A. It's pronounced with like an O.
Okay. Anyway, Berman didn't like him, and they were going to get rid of him when they brought Jerry Ryan on board. And then he was in some magazine as like the top 100 sexiest people alive. So then they're like, okay, I guess we keep him and we get rid
Wow,
of him.
all 100
Yes.
spots.
And we got rid of
Just for
Cass.
Garrett Wong.
The I do find it
I mean,
interesting
he's
that like
alright.
season 3 they started getting Kess like in more form-fitting outfits and like longer curly hair. Like it was almost like a prototype of 7 where 7 was going to go.
He was in TNG, right? This dude?
Yeah, he was Sabin from the Drumhead, the Betazoid.
Yeah, playing the exact same role almost.
Ooh,
yeah.
matte painting.
Wow, matte painting. They really go all out on this episode with a lot of effects and stuff that we'll just never see again.
Global warming. That can't be right.
I do I do find it interesting in Enterprise, they do like CGI matte paintings where it's like they treat it like a matte painting, but it's all CGI. And I'm like, well, since it's CGI, they could have like panned the camera, they could have
But
rotated it to follow the shuttle pod
people
down,
in the
but no, they
background
just
with their scarves, nobody here knows how to properly wear a mask. Some of them have them over their
Yeah.
mouths. Some of them it's under their chin.
Ah.
Nobody has it covering their nose. And some of them are crochet. That doesn't help. What is that?
well, when you only live 8 or 9 years, or 7 or 8 years,
Yeah. Also, I realized the scene where Kess has like a black eye and bloody lip is a pretty graphic thing to show. Like abuse.
Yeah. Also, I just like the ideas. Like, first of all, how can you crave a more exotic taste when all you have are food replicators?
Those are the worst video games I've ever seen.
Yeah.
You just sit there and stare at a sunset, a digital sunset. Does he? He does. You just said he doesn't communicate with you. Maybe he
that
sends
make
them
you-
to you for you to kill them.
Maybe hey, if you care for people that he sends you, would that make you the caretaker's caretakers?
Who cares for the caretaker?
The
Yeah.
barber.
One interesting thing is this alien has no other name other than Caretaker, and he doesn't need any other name. His only role is to take care of the Okampa.
What would happen if they flew the ship in front of one of those energy
I was just
bursts?
wondering that.
You could
They just-
supercharge it and get back to the Alpha Quadrant.
That's
in
how
a
they get
jiffy.
home.
Yeah.
Or
You
it'll
say
blow
for
up the warp core, one or the other.
1,000 years, the Caretaker has been taking care of the Okampa.
If in front of one of those energy bursts, it just grows 8 warp nacelles and it's just zoom. It's off in a jiffy.
Yeah, that's how I'd eat every day if I had a replicator.
I would totally fill my room full of glasses of water if I had a replicator. Oh,
This
we
is,
get to see a Starfleet bathroom.
But
Oh,
is there
With
a
no
toilet in it?
Starfleet toilet.
we saw a Starfleet bathtub in Troy's quarters during the what you call it? What was it called? Genesis or
Yeah, where everyone was
one where everybody
de-evolving.
de-evolved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
Lizard
season 7.
Troy was.
Yeah, she was doing the same thing in the bathtub.
Seriously, Neelix, water's not that hard to find. Just go somewhere else.
Yeah, just dehydrate people. People are like ugly bags of mostly water. Ugly.
Yeah, or an
Like-
asteroid field or something. Like, yeah.
I'm gonna surprise Neelix was able to take a bath without his makeup falling off.
Good
They
makeup.
used waterproof makeup.
Ethan Phelps was just stuck looking like Neelix for 15 years until the
Oh,
makeup
maybe they
wore
used henna tattoos.
Maybe he's just actually a Talaxian.
Yeah, maybe the human state
That
is the makeup.
That's Occam's razor here.
He's just standing there next to Tuvok naked, and Tuvok's keeping his eyes staring at the wall.
Yeah.
Please don't enter my peripheral vision with that.
Right.
I think Tuvok is lying there when he says the replicator won't make him a uniform, because it totally will.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
it certainly can,
might be
but maybe
restricted.
that's something that's specifically blacklisted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably.
Oh, it's the Kazon now, right?
It's
But
the Kazon now,
Yeah.
I
in their
agree.
eternal
Neelix
quest
did-
for two of the most common elements in the galaxy.
Wow, but you know what? Neelix is always fabulously dressed. Can we give him that? He's like the Quark of the series.
Not as good as Quark.
But also in pilot episodes, they always put a lot of money into it because they want the series to succeed. So that's.
Is their hair just matted or is it like rocks?
I think they put
this hair is clearly hair, but I feel like later on it turns into more like solid.
They're like, you could say it's like a head
kind
of
of
lettuce.
scaly after a while.
Yeah, it looks like, Halloween cobwebs with the rubber rocks that they use in movies, so like, that you fall on or whatnot. That's what their hair is made of at some point.
Seriously though, what happened to the oceans? Where did they go?
Caretaker drank them all with his big straw.
Caretaker caused global warming and like
global warming doesn't get rid of the ocean. The bad part, one of the bad parts,
I'd like to
is
say
that it makes more ocean.
If Janeway just said like energize, any reasonable person would have interpreted that as bring back the away team, not just give them 30 million gallons of Gatorade for some reason.
Maybe they like planned it beforehand, bring the water down.
She got them hooked on Gatorade for sure. But she shoots it right at the end or something. She makes a hole in that tanker.
Oh, so when global warming on this planet happened, it caused rifts in the ocean to open up and it all drained under the crust. Or some such. I feel like that's not how global warming works, but all right.
Oh, jeez, there's a emoticon of it.
Of what?
Funny. Of Kess.
Oh. Graphic content warning. Battered.
That's not
person.
In TNG, we saw a man's head explode. She just has a couple bruises.
Uh-huh.
What are you doing, Neil? Like, it was all going well. The Kazon were being reasonable for once in their lives.
Yeah, it's true. They had what they wanted, which is water.
They were being helpful. They were giving information. That's just mean.
And this is what started the whole bad relations with the Kazon this moment, right?
Yeah, just think good job, Neelix.
Just because they enslaved and battered one person.
I like to point out that the water was coming out of a nozzle and not a hole.
Yeah. Neelix just turned the tap on.
Good very precisely with the gun.
Yeah, they used like level 0 of the phaser, which is like just turn on a faucet.
Even though I don't care for the plot of most Voyager episodes, one thing Voyager does really great is keep the TNG vibe alive with the uniforms, and it just if you like staying there, it just continued a lot of TNG plots basically.
Voyager is an attempt at TNG too.
Yeah.
Honestly, I encountered Farpoint much more than this.
I'd say this is better than Encounter at Farpoint.
This is much better than Encounter at Farpoint, and I love TNG.
Encounter at Farpoint was a good episode. Half of it was dreadful.
This goes into a lot of great sci-fi concepts.
Space Jellyfish is pretty cool.
Yeah, but this has a lot of innovative sci-fi concepts. Like, for example, not only global warming, but a subterranean society, which is hard to kind of display. And they do a really good job because, we're always in the shadows. That's how you know we're, underground.
And except for the brightly lit areas.
Yeah. But that's where you have, the amazing
The matte painting has these
civilization.
big columns that go up into stone.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty neat.
Yeah, and the people walking along the bridge by the riverway, so they have like, and here it establishes that he sends them energy with those photon beams.
Okay, so the Okampas have enough energy to run the city for 5 years. Let's say 6, because he's going to send them some more.
Yeah.
By the end of the series, the Okampas are just dead, right?
Well, they have to evolve,
By
right?
the end of the 7 years.
I think like they have to work it out with the Kazon now, and so somehow they have to have a democratic merger with the Kazon society.
They assimilate into the Kazon.
Yeah,
They
and
start like having like cabbage hairstyles and stuff.
yeah, and they share their battery technology with them.
I think the idea was more like, since they live so little, without the caretaker, they just can't live at all. So when the
live one
caretaker
more
goes away,
generation
they
and go
just
extinct.
They
yeah,
just
they
die.
just all die. I think that was the entire point of the Okampa, but I think it's just a bad plot. So they just got rid of her when 709 came. They got rid of
Neelix
Tess.
is really the greatest science fiction concept. Like, what would happen if Neelix
I would agree.
existed?
That was very
No,
rude
and
of the
also-
captain, just shutting down the program like that.
They're so rude to him for like the first few episodes because he's not even a person in anyone's mind except Kess.
And only in Kess's mind, because she's a primitive and doesn't understand technology.
And Neelix is fucking dating her.
Yeah, Neelix goes along with it just because, Kess.
Neelix is a beaver.
I've seen Neelix more commonly described as a hobbit.
He's a traitor,
He's
like
got he's got
He's a
hobbit
traitor
feet,
to his people.
sure.
That's true. He
No.
he did desert. He is a traitor.
he's a mercantile,
Deserter's not necessarily a traitor.
a
Yeah.
Just a
mercantile
deserter.
person. Well, I meant
It's
mercantile,
a
not
kind of treason.
treason.
It's a bit of light treason.
It's but it's treason then.
Like, there's a conspiracy theory that there's like something fairy people living under the earth or whatever. This is really cool of sci-fi to go there. I wouldn't say it's a bad plot, and the Badlands and the battle even that we get at the beginning is kind of really cool. One thing I noticed though at the beginning, we never get a scroll for any intro to any Star Trek series. I think so. This was
Nope.
like very Star Wars like, and also even with the Galore class flying across, that was an Imperial battle cruiser, whatever they call those triangle ships. An Imperial cruiser.
It's a Star Destroyer.
Yeah, Star Destroyer. Thank you.
Unless the
I
Death
was
Star.
thinking
Not
of
Death
the
Star.
triangle ships we have a counter for.
Yeah,
It's
but
like, did we miss one?
those are the
Oh.
capital ships, and so they're almost going off. They give us a lot of action and also homage to Star Wars.
Well, didn't Deep Space Nine also have a title crawl?
Oh, that's true. DS9 did have a title crawl.
Did it have a
My
title?
Yeah,
God.
the Wolf 359 thing.
Oh yeah, they
Thanks.
did. Oh,
Okay, thanks. I stand
But
corrected.
then the question is, why didn't every other Star Trek have a title crawl?
clearly it's Star Trek
Yeah.
Because
tradition
Rick
at this
Berman
point,
took
and
over.
Enterprise is literally unwatchable because it doesn't have a title crawl.
I think it's unnecessary. It's not Star Trek to have title crawls. With all due respect, like leave that to Lucas.
It's
And-
just more if someone didn't watch Deep Space Nine or TNG, they just
Mhm.
have to know anything about Star Trek. So they have
Mhm.
to have some sort of crawl or anything that makes
True.
sense at least.
Cass to me comes off kind of insane here, talking about her magic special mind powers.
Yeah.
It turns out she's
probably
right. She does
because
have
she
magic special
is.
mind powers. So
Yeah. Even Neelix tells her later that, oh, those are just legends, and she's like, I always believed them, Neelix.
it's the
I
Esper
really
ratings
just
of
don't
the
like Tess as a
Okampa.
character.
I saw the sun. Up and up behind.
Careful if you sing it too well, it'll get copyright struck.
Plato also comes to mind because if people live in a cave, they only live in a illusion, and they only see the shadows on the cave, and they confuse that for
Speaking
reality.
of caves, hey, look, it's a cave.
Oh, it's the famous cave set.
Is it? I don't think this is the cave.
Is
I don't
this
think
is
this
this
is
the
the
set
cave.
where where
Oh, yeah, it's too narrow.
Tanner fell to the bottom and broke her android arm.
Oh, did they use this in the Sword of Kalis episode in Deep Space Nine?
I don't know. I don't recognize these walls, but maybe.
It looks really similar, like the walkways and stuff on the walls.
There was a matte painting in one of those shots, so
Yes,
it looks like
the
a small
shaft is
set.
not quite that deep in reality. It has a...
So so I'm saying though it looks like a really small cave set compared to how big cave sets we've gotten in Trek.
Apparently, Garrett Wong, pronounced with an O sound, thought that, or thinks currently, that B'Elanna and Kim should have gotten together instead of B'Elanna and Paris.
Yeah, Blood on Paris doesn't work in my opinion.
Yeah.
Oh, Kim and Paris works, but that's just my opinion. But anyway,
I don't know. I don't think Kim and Paris aren't nearly as good as Bashir and O'Brien.
Not even close to Garrick
no.
and Bashir.
And it's
That's the
Garrick and
best one.
Bashir that's the best one, but yeah, the B'Elanna thing was a little bit, but I mean, honestly, I was watching Janeway and Chakotay. They kind of could have gravitated towards each other a little more, even though, because see, when she's talking to the guy with the dog, that's just what I'll call him, because we know she doesn't wind up with him,
Marky Mark.
Yeah.
And the puppy bunch.
So Janeway knows she doesn't wind up with anyone during the end of this series.
They had a whole episode about Janeway and Chakotay's budding romance when they're trapped on that planet.
Oh,
He,
yeah.
builds her a bath and rubs her shoulders.
Wait, wasn't there a weird plot point in an episode where B'Elanna is dreaming, and she keeps going to Chakotay? It's in season 1. It's a really weird episode.
I don't remember specifically that episode, but I remember that plot point.
Yeah, it's so stupid. And it just goes nowhere. They just wanted to try something, I guess, and it didn't work.
Well, look at him. He's tall and he's strong and he's authoritative.
I wonder what mall or airport this is.
Yeah, it's kind of Klingon, I guess.
Let me see if I can find it.
No,
that does look like an airport.
It looked like the water reclamation facility that they use for the Ito, the blonde. Yeah, that and the blonde.
No, this is the LA Convention Center.
Oh, of course.
I just googled it.
Thanks.
It's where they hold E3.
So are you saying that the Okampa live in the same building where the world first saw the giant enemy crab?
Now we know where we get all our technology
Historically accurate giant enemy crabs.
Weak point, yes.
You attack its weak point for massive damage. Everybody loves giant enemy crabs.
Yeah.
Giant enemy crab.
You can play it for only $599 US.
Robo, do you not know about giant enemy crabs?
No.
There was a game presentation where they're making this whole big thing about it's real historical battles in ancient Japan. We're really trying to stay on the realism. Anyway, here's this battle with this giant enemy crab.
Giant enemy crab.
It's 20 feet tall. It's literally just a giant crab with glowing weak points that you can attack for massive damage.
Around as their civilization collapses.
That's why ancient Japan split up in a faction so much. They kept getting attacked by giant enemy crabs.
Giant enemy crab.
So a little less realism than they were making it out to be.
But yeah.
See, I think it's been insinuated from the first episode that this is really the power couple of Star Trek.
The real caretaker is Tom Paris.
Paris and Kim,
they're trying to
couple.
Trying to do O'Brien Bashir.
He even says, "What makes you think I'm your friend?" You know, I'm like, "Oh wow, why don't you guys just you know,
get a room already."
yeah." But the shoot is actually the most erotic episode between the two of them. I think I'll have to sit out for that one.
You mean the episode where they almost literally bash each other's brains in with big rocks?
No, but at the end though, there's the scene where they promise to eat fudge and go on a date.
They can just
Why?
I
hang
just remember
out. It doesn't have to be.
that's the episode with the slide.
Yeah. It's a really good episode. I think that was the first episode of Voyager on my first watch through that I really liked. Like Caretaker's okay, but Shoot is where it was like, okay, this is starting to get good.
I should have called it the slide. After
They should have called it Harry the Food.
Which season is that?
Let me look it up because I don't know.
I'm doing
Voyager, The Shoot, season 3,
okay,
episode
I found
3.
Okay.
only
Season 2 had some good episodes.
like what? If we just needed to wait like 2 or 3 months to get there.
You know, something interesting about Paris's character is that usually, like, I mean, John McCain was the son of an admiral, so it would have been like they're usually like national heroes because they, you know, they put country over, you know, personal, you know, self-interest. And to show like the son of an admiral spend time in like a penal colony, you know, it was kind of very interesting to like subvert that expectation.
What expectation of admirals being good people? Is that what you're talking about? In Star Trek?
Good point.
How is this hole
are
not just
usually
been
terrible.
filled in with dust so far?
So Tom Paris was like the son of an oil company executive or something. He's just like going with all kinds of eco causes just to rebel against father's
Who's launching
evil.
torpedoes at the desert?
It's the Caretaker. He's sealing all the tubes so the Kazon can't get in.
I see.
Yeah, he gave them 5-6 years of supply, but now he's bombing them. This is what I don't get though, because that is kind of dangerous. Like,
I'm not thinking of going back there. I'm just going to live on this planet now.
I think it's funny. Later, Neelix turns the captain's private dining room into his kitchen.
This is Neelix's private dining room now.
But you know, he's an indispensable character. Actually, I don't think the series could have.
Without Neelix?
Yeah.
No, the
I'm not
series would be
saying I
centered
want
on
to get
Neelix.
rid of Neelix, but I think we could have.
Yeah.
No, he's just the 10 times worse Guinan.
I think we should get rid of Chakotay. Like, Paris should do what Chakotay says and just let Chakotay fall to his death in the first episode.
When do we get the scene of Tuvok choking Neelix to death and throwing him against a wall?
That happened?
Yeah, that happened.
That's the Tuvok premeditated murder episode.
The episode with Grima Wormtongue, I believe.
I think
episode where Tuvok just gets sick of Neelix's shit.
if he calls me Mr. Vulcan one more time.
Mr. Tuvok.
I love that scene.
Mr. Vulcan just picks up Neelix and lifts him over his head and throws him out the window.
Yeah, do you not remember that? That's such a good scene.
Yeah, it just.
Okay, speaking of not good scenes,
They put Tuvok on trial for attempted Neelix murder, and then they was like.
Paris says, first of all, they're using the word Indian. So, like, isn't that some Indian thing where you can turn into a bird and fly away? And it's like, that's like and then they make another
That's
joke
racist.
about it.
Yeah.
And Chakotay says wrong tribe.
Oh wait, wasn't there like a consultant that actually didn't know anything about Native American society.
Yeah, there was the
And
fraud
they
Native
fired him
American.
afterwards.
Yeah.
A guy who pretended to be Native American but actually wasn't and just made things up.
Chakotay
The
is
fun
like
part is he'd
familiar
been
with.
exposed as a fraud before the series began, and they just didn't bother to look him up.
No, he didn't consult on Voyager. That's a
Chakotay.
crossing of timelines. He actually consulted Rick Berman on something else a long time ago, and it's in IMDb, and people thought that he consulted on Voyager, but he didn't.
Okay.
Alright,
So then
well,
what's the excuse
familiar
for
with,
why
like,
the Native American
indigenous
representation is
cultures
awful?
the same way that
Yeah.
Because there are no
he's
Native
familiar
Americans
with
unless he's
planet
already
cultures.
Anyway, I mean, look, it was just, I like the tattoo. I'll say that. I like his eye tattoo.
It's awful for the same reason that it's always awful. They don't talk to Native Americans about it.
Oh, okay. That tracks.
Yeah,
How
all
do
the
you
Native
have
American
spaceships
stuff.
that can go to warp but you can't find water?
I mean, like, Harry Kim never got promoted. Like, it's kind of crazy that they never even, like, bothered to write that in at any point. Like, even off camera, you could have done it.
They do write in at one point in season 7 where he's calling his parents and they're like, "Oh, why haven't you been promoted?" It's like, there's not a lot of spaces. Shut up, Mom.
Okay. I didn't know.
Now, one thing that's crazy about these Kazon ships is that if you actually like look at a diagram of the Kazon ships compared to other Star Trek ships, the Kazon ships are just massive and dwarf almost everything. Like that one's tiny, but the mothership that we'll see, I think, later in this episode is big
Yeah.
badonkaloos.
Well, the Kazon suck, but
and-
these ships were stolen from an actual decent species.
Oh yeah.
The
They were still
Trabe.
technologically behind. Like it was big, but it was slow and bad weapons and shields.
Almost like a Federation ship. These things are not maneuverable.
Did you guys know that they were gonna have Genevieve Bujold play
Yes.
Captain Catherine Janeway?
And you can find scenes of her,
and she
it's
quit
not
after
great.
like the second day.
Yeah.
She's like, Star Trek Voyager, no way.
Well, first of all, it was like a 16-hour day, and not everyone is up to that. But I heard though, like I think it was Garrett Wong who said that like when it was her line to say engage, she just like closed her eyes, lifted up her head, and said engage, and then that's when like everybody on the set realized that this is not going to work.
I think the actress too, like that's one thing, but the actress was not comfortable with a lot of the techno babble. She was very awkward delivering it.
Mm-hmm.
You can see that in the scenes that we do have of her doing it.
Yeah,
so like it's a better choice to go with Kate Mulgrew. She took to it like nothing.
Right, and so I was always blasé about Kate Mulgrew, but I saw an interview she gave about to like an acting channel, and so she said that when she was a little girl, when she told her mother she wanted to be an actress, her mother said go get the dictionary, and her mother made her look up the word discipline, and the word discipline means rules that you set for yourself, and so if you want to be an actress, this is what you have to be. And I realized actually, even in this first episode, she has to portray a very hard role, and she's an amazing person for this role.
You could put them on another planet. I don't know if you need to stay here for literally forever. It doesn't look like there's that many of them.
By the way, if you're dying, why have like the lemonade and the the banjo,
A farewell party.
Yeah, they would have probably collaborated with you if you just like were upfront about it.
And it's like,
wait, was he left with no way to contact his own people?
right.
Why can't they send to someone else?
That was kind of a stupid idea, wasn't it?
They have a whole civilization in the other galaxy.
You know who probably would be compatible with the Caretaker?
Another Caretaker?
Nagilum.
Oh.
I don't know if you want Nagilum being the caretaker.
Wow.
That
No,
seems
I
like a
don't.
bad strat.
Really bad combination.
I don't know what you're talking. I think Nagilum would do a fantastic job.
He'd like perpetually torture the
There would
Kazon
very
and
quickly
the
not be
Okampa.
an Okamban problem anymore. That's true.
Nagilum would be like, "Oh, you're dying in 9 years. How do you feel about that?"
Yes, you're
Just
dying in
scares them
9
to death.
years. Please demonstrate this.
Okay, so Janeway's saying, there's the really big mothership. Janeway's saying the
Yeah.
Okampa, they'll go to the surface and they'll learn and they'll evolve. I'm not sure they will. They don't know anything. They're gonna go to the
Yeah,
surface. There's no water there, and they're gonna die.
Yeah, there's no hope. But
It doesn't matter how
Give
smart
him-
you are if
give
there's
him,
no
like, the
basic
big Kazon
resources.
ship.
yeah, so they have 5 years to solve global warming, basically. 6 years, like you said. She could
The Kazon ships aren't
go to another
ugly.
M class.
Yeah, just transport them to a different M-class planet. It'll be great. It's
Yeah.
so much easier.
Yeah, the
Big
Kazon are just so empty.
I like the Kazon ships.
Like the looks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
They're almost triangle ships.
Almost.
Ryan, are we done with triangle ships? Are we going to see any more?
No. We're not done with triangle ships. I know there are some in Voyager, but they're really, really disguised. And I know there's at least one in Enterprise.
Okay.
It's getting interesting.
Concentrate forward, firepower!
Oh wow, Chakotay does a kamikaze run.
Except he survives.
That doesn't count.
Yeah, but I
Did
mean,
he
it's pretty
really need to be
fanatical.
in there until the last second, though? The ship was going to keep going on its own. It has no
Yeah, it's not
reason.
like if Chakotay got off, the ship would just turn around and be like, "Nope, I'm not going to do that."
You don't have to trick the ship.
I think they were highlighting the
Chakotay needed to
They
sit
were
on the
highlighting
gas
his
pedal.
recklessness.
his like rebel revolutionary, Maquis
Unnecessary
roots.
bravado. Is that what you're going
Yeah.
for?
Also, like Maquis are terrorists, right? So it was kind of a suicide bombing, right?
Oh, so he has to instill terror in himself at the same time.
That ship is still burning.
So it's all Chakotay's fault that they get stuck here.
Thanks, Chakotay.
Yeah, good job, Chakotay.
I like the stacks of hay with the hollow regenerator.
But where's the corn?
Yeah. Since you didn't want corn, we'll just have to rush things. By the way, Rick Berman has a writing credit on this episode, which I was complaining yesterday that it was Rick Berman and Brown and Braga who wrote the pilot for Enterprise, but apparently he was here also.
Captain,
he
we
does
believe
that,
the Kazon ship has crashed into the array. We believe their corn storage silos have been destroyed. Oh
Kind of does that
no!
thing that the Founders did earlier in the series. You just turn into dust or rock.
Janeway's like, I'm
Yeah,
gonna
they
eat
turn
this.
into dust.
By
So everything
Caretaker.
after this is a massive Prime Directive violation, right?
You know, they could totally use the array to get home and leave a time bomb to destroy the array.
Yeah, they could.
Yeah.
Super easy.
Yep.
Is the Okampa pre-warp?
They only
Yeah.
didn't have ships.
Are the
I mean-
Okampa pre-warp? They've already been in contact with the caretakers and the Kazon, so
Yeah.
I don't think that matters.
Yeah,
But the
they
Prime
know
Directive
about-
still applies even if they know stuff. It's about non-interference, and you can't interfere in this.
You should have just trained the Okampa to drive your little space
Okay,
station.
but somebody abducted you across the galaxy, so therefore, since you've been interfered with, you're allowed to interfere back.
This guy
Uh,
looks like
I think-
Napoleon Dynamite. He's gonna start doing the Napoleon Dynamite dance on the bridge of the Kazon ship.
Yeah, that's his battle dance.
Oh, there's another yes, ma'am. I
Yeah,
could
she
do
said
a
not to
yes,
call
ma'am
her.
counter.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because she expressly says, "Do not do it unless it's in a pinch."
But they're always in a
Oh, they're in
pinch.
a pinch right now. Did she only give that speech to Kim too?
I
Yeah,
think
but
Paris
it's
was in the room at the time.
it's like the
Okay.
third yes ma'am of the episode, so it's like, it can't always be a pinch.
Why do they have tri-cobalt devices on the ship?
They're
Why
going.
not?
The Maquis mission was secretly a cover to sneak into Dominion space.
Because
Yeah, something
cobalt's
like that.
pretty cool. It's a nice, fancy blue color.
Why do we never see tri-cobalt devices after this episode?
Because
'Cause
they
she
used
only
all
had-
of them right here.
No, even in regular Trek,
Because they all die.
they
Michael?
all died.
The Maquis.
Michael,
What?
you were saying something.
Oh, I said the exact same thing you did. They used them all right here.
Oh, okay.
If they just blew up the Kazon ship, the knowledge of that
Molly.
the Kazon are pissed at them will just die with them, and then next time they run into the Kazon, they'll be like, "Hello, strangers. Fancy seeing you here. Say, can we buy some dilithium crystals?
Do you have any extra
from
water
you?"
by chance?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a shame.
We'll trade you water for those worthless dilithium crystals and latinum you got there.
We make a lot of jokes about how, Janeway purposely kept people, and her crew from getting home on time, but she made a huge sacrifice. We're seeing from the picture
But she didn't
the
need
guy
to.
of the guy and the dog.
More importantly, the dog.
She gave up her own, yeah, but also
Dog lives as long
the
as an Okampa.
it's kind of, she made a huge sacrifice, and I think there's a tragic component of the character we don't visit too often.
Really, you're immediately promoting this man above Harry Kim?
Yeah.
This criminal who is in beautiful New Zealand?
He's the son of an admiral.
He may have already been a lieutenant before all of that happened.
I feel like being kicked out of Starfleet and sent to prison overrides that.
Yeah, he could be a field ensign for sure. Make him scrub the floors. But
So how old is Kess again? Is she 2 or 3?
He's
So there's
two
a-
at this point, I think.
2?
There-
Okay.
There's a lot of respect that Paris gets, because the thing is that before, first of all, he was just an observer. Then he's like the convict who caused people to die, and so the thing is that also he's the disgraced son of an admiral. So the fact that he goes from, you're just a side mission, and also it's implied 2 or 3 times before this that Janeway owns him. He has to do, she basically said, "Look, you're gonna help us find Chakotay, and then you're gonna be back, and then you'll get a good recommendation from me as far as your sentence."
On a unrelated note, Neelix is clearly just lying here. He told her that if she needed a cook, he could be a cook. He can make her his famous Angla Basque. All he ever makes is the Yola route.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we ever see that.
He's like it's Leola roots are probably like the Delta Quadrant equivalent of Pop-Tarts.
Yeah,
It's
that was just a
famous.
job interview, so he was overselling.
Yeah. He's
And how
just,
come Kess
like,
doesn't get a job? He sold
Neelix
himself, but he
doesn't-
didn't sell Kess.
Neelix doesn't
I guess
know how
Kess
to
has already
cook it.
been sold enough.
Neelix doesn't.
Oh wow! Human trafficking joke
It's
there, Ryan.
Okampa
Come on.
trafficking.
Funny times.
I like the title Neelix gives himself, which is Chief Morale Officer, and Janeway's just like, yes.
Yeah, whatever. I don't care. Just fine.
But it is a cool job.
Assigned? They were never assigned to the Delta Quadrant.
It's no,
It's
the,
just
the
there.
Voyager conspiracy is true. They were
Yes.
assigned. They
Wow.
collaborated with the Caretaker to
My God.
destroy the
Seven times right.
Maquis and take over the Alpha Quadrant. It was all part of a three-way Federation Cardassian Caretaker alliance.
They
And-
also took off the Lost in Space plot, which is kind of interesting.
Wait, we're going to be looking for wormhole spatial rifts or new technologies to help us. In like 3 episodes, they're going to be offered a new technology to help them, and they say no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they also
Wait.
find a wormhole, and then they also say no.
You talking about the trajector thing?
Yeah.
I mean, it turns out it doesn't work anyway.
They
Spoilers.
didn't know that.
No, but anyway,
Until
Jerry
the board
Taylor-
get their hands on it, then it works.
Jerry Taylor was a producer on TNG, so it was kind of cool that they got an upgrade. Oh, I'm sorry, Lieutenant Stotty died. I would have liked to see her.
Lieutenant who?
The Betazoid who flirts with
Oh.
Paris or doesn't flirt.
Okay, so
Well, they had to get her out of the way for the Paris B'Elanna romance.
Mm-hmm.
Paris Torres.
let's see. The next episode is Parallax.
Doesn't make any sense.
As a couple, would we call them Bolaris or
No.
well, I mean,
Torres?
So hang on.
Tom-
Hang on. For the description of Parallax, it says tensions rise between the merged Starfleet and Maquis crews when the ship becomes trapped inside a star that's collapsed upon itself. And I have absolutely no memory of this whatsoever. I don't have any
you
idea.
You might when you see it.
That's
You
Star
might
Trek
when
Warp
you
Particles
see
episode.
it.
Maybe
It's-
when I see it, but 1 minute to start. 1 minute to start. Everyone.
Yeah.
This is the Warp
I'm gonna
Particles
get
episode.
my snack. I'll be back.
okay.
Oh.
Your snack.
Is this the episode where there's like a hall of mirrors?
No,
Yeah. They
no,
sort
that
of,
comes
yeah.
later.
That's later.
Okay.
That's the DN
all right.
episode. This one,
There's extensive mirroring happening.
there is a
This-
reflection, but like
Yeah.
it's not the one you're thinking of where they shoot phasers and they go all over the place.
Okay.
No.
I'm scrolling through the preview right now, and I don't recognize any of this except the Doctor
Yeah.
being short. I remember that.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
I remember that
Oh,
from
it's
your
that
video.
Is
episode.
that the emergency medical holographic channel?
Yep.
Yeah.
Is that the episode?
yes.
Yes, Voyager has channels.
Hang on. Press play in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Play.
Oh, I
All
just
right,
let
guys.
it play. I'm so far in the episode. Oh
We're
God.
all done. We're all done with Caretaker. Now it's just
20 episodes of
bad
This is-
episodes
this-
of Star
this is
Trek for the
Discount
next
O'Brien.
2 seasons.
They couldn't get O'Brien for this.
I remember B'Elanna punching Lieutenant Carey.
Oh man, can you imagine if O'Brien transferred to Voyager?
Doesn't the man have a hard enough life?
Yeah.
Leave him alone.
O'Brien gets pulled to the Delta Quadrant, and the first thing he probably thinks is, Keiko is gonna kill me when I get back.
Yeah. And the caretaker picks him.
7 years? Oh my God.
O'Brien's compatible with the Caretaker. It's like
Oh,
O'Brien and the
no.
Caretaker.
Is that why he's the most important
racing-
person in Starfleet history?
O'Brien and the Caretaker are like racing their little weird goo baby on the space station.
That's just weird.
Yeah. This is why. Anyway.
O'Brien gets on like a runabout by himself and gets pulled into the Delta Quadrant by himself.
Just meets them on the way.
So this is a cool part where Chakotay is like, well, we're rebels. We kind of beat each other up sometimes. And Tuvok is like, yeah, she needs to be in a brig because she committed assault. And he's like, I outrank you.
A full report in his security log. Oh, no.
Man, looks like it back to the
yeah.
Alpha Quadrant. Chakotay is going to be in big trouble on top of the terrorism charges.
They show in submarine movies, though, like sailors get into fights every once in a while.
Yeah,
Like,
it happens. Come on.
you don't write people up for like a little fist fight. Seska is a loyal Maquis.
Uh-huh.
More like Suska. But
Seska also
Like-
plays at least one character in Star Trek Bridge Commander. She's your first officer.
What?
There is one imposter.
Not
There is
as
one
Seska.
imposter among us.
Not as
Amogus.
Seska. She's just the
Amogus.
actress.
there's a couple imposters in the Voyager crew.
Yeah.
There is one. There is.
No, B'Elanna just mugged Chakotay.
You were working for her. She was working for them. Was anyone on that ship working for me? Poor Chakotay. Half his crew is traitors.
Yeah. Intelligence.
Yeah,
services
half
of
them
the
are traitors and
superpower.
half them are double traitors.
But B'Elanna has a great backstory that she dropped out of the academy.
Lemon drop
She's a
out.
Romulan DS9 when the Defiant gets the cloak. Is that sounds right?
Yes.
Wait,
Okay, cool.
Think so. Yeah.
That's Martha Hackett.
And they go.
Is Seska.
They go to the homeworld of the founders, and she's in that simulation.
Oh, and she's really angry that the Romulans were left out of the agreement. That's right.
It's good to be the underdog, and like the fact that in the first few episodes we get to see the scrappy crew that Voyager is, or they have to become. Like even the Doctor, he was definitely not meant to be,
So not a Star
way
Trek
that-
question, but a linguistics question. If B'Elanna's the underdog, does that make Carrie just the dog or the overdog or what?
I'd
Dog.
approve of Overdog.
Yeah, it is Overdog.
Top dog.
He's the no,
Number
I don't
one
like Top
dog.
Dog. I like Overdog.
Clifford the big red dog.
Oh,
Is that a reference to him being a ginger? That's
Yeah.
a little.
something I didn't know until watching this. Jerry Goldsmith wrote the Voyager theme because he also wrote the motion picture TNG theme, which we know it as, and the Klingon theme, we know, which is part of the motion picture soundtrack. But it's yet another, and the First Contact soundtrack. So it's another contribution by an immortal Hollywood music director who died in 2015. He got a star on the Hollywood Walk thing in 2017.
Neelix get a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Ooh,
love
look at
this-
the tiny reflection. Well,
love the
excessively
Saturn
large
planet.
reflection, which indicates the rings are tiny. Ooh, fancy.
Yeah, I love the rings and the reflection on the ring, and like, because rings are actually composed of like that,
Yeah,
millions
but
of-
they're generally a lot bigger than that. That's
Oh, really? Okay.
that
yeah,
the
scaling
size
a
of the
bit off.
reflection on the rings indicates that the ring system is like a couple kilometers across.
Okay.
That's a couple
That's a
miles
problem
across
because
for our American
they can't-
viewers.
No, 2 kilometers is barely a mile.
It's like
That's a couple.
I thought.
I think a couple kilometers nicely translates to approximately a couple miles.
I want to
60
say that,
yeah,
that a
yeah.
mile is 2.2 kilometers, but I think I'm thinking of the conversion of pounds to kilograms.
Yeah, it's just 0.6
62 miles an
kilograms, 2.2
hour.
pounds.
I knew I shouldn't have made a
26
joke
miles.
about about measurement systems in
On this
voice
stream,
chat.
no, of course not.
Yeah,
62 and a half miles an hour, I believe, is 100 kph.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So So
Yeah.
one mile
It's
or
1.6
one
is the
kilometer
ratio,
is like
yeah.
0.62 of a mile or something.
He says
Yeah.
here, Harry Kim, the holodeck's energy matrix isn't compatible with the other system. That's interesting.
Somehow, the holodeck runs on a completely separate power system that never runs out.
Yep.
Infinite energy in the holodeck.
Why couldn't you use a holodeck to create like a fusion reactor simulation and then just tie right into the fusion reactor simulator and get actual power out of the holodeck?
Well, because there would
You-
be a different power type that's not compatible with the main ship's drives.
Mm-hmm. But here's our chief morale officer.
The senior Ocampa, she's 2.
That's pretty senior.
Well, the senior Ocampa.
I honestly think the idea that Ocampas like age really fast and die really fast is kind of a fun sci-fi concept, and I wish it was explored a little more.
It's not.
Later,
It's
isn't there
yeah.
a male Ocampa that's played by the actor who plays one of the Vulcans in Enterprise?
Yeah, and he's like,
Yeah.
I'm 13 years old.
Yeah.
It is a really good idea to have a hydroponics bay if you're lost in the Delta Quadrant.
I mean, it's just a Jamhadar, but worse.
I think it takes like to grow enough food.
Just boosy Jim
Instead of
Hadar.
physical strength, they have mental strength and magic mind powers.
To grow enough food for one person, I think it takes like 0.7 of an acre. So I don't know how much food you're gonna make in a cargo bay converted
Yeah,
into a
if you look at
hydroponics bay.
they're not even using the space efficiently in the cargo bay.
Yeah.
A field
think we
is
ever-
only one layer, though. A cargo bay is multi-dimensional hydroponics.
Yeah, but
I have
still,
a vague memory
you-
of seeing a
just don't-
hydroponics bay once in this show.
Yeah, you see it.
No,
in
you see
later
it when she's
episodes,
getting
and
pregnant
It's like
and she's
12
eating the bugs.
The dirt.
It's like
It's dirt.
It's like
See it when she's
15
burning all the
plots
flowers.
of space at most.
Yeah, the burning the flowers thing, was that not the episode with the older Ocampa guy I was just mentioning?
Mhm.
Yeah.
She like burns him too because he's like, join us.
Oh,
you
it burns,
Voyagers."
she burns Tuvok's blood. Or something. He turns all of his blood into fire or something like that. I don't know.
Frankly, the way they're talking about the EMH is very offensive here. They're calling him an it.
Yeah.
They're
And
dismissing
and
him,
also-
his abilities.
also, like I said, Janeway owns Paris because she took him out of prison. You know, very much.
Janeway owns Paris?
Yeah, because she's
I
like,
don't
all
think
right,
that works like that.
you're the field
It
captain.
owns
longer
Paris.
enslaved
Oh,
Tom
pow.
Paris for
She just-
medical purposes.
She volunteered him to be the field medic, and like he just said, I only took 2 courses in biochem.
A
she's like,
disruption
"That's
of
you
the
now."
space-time
Well,
continuum.
but doesn't the captain already have that? Like, she can do that
True,
just as a rank.
true, but I feel like she's putting on Paris because you know he has to prove himself somewhat more.
Well, Cass eventually gets the job, though, right?
True.
Oh my god, it's a Type 4 quantum singularity.
I'm noting the scene though, and
Wait,
the
how are you getting a
interaction.
transmission from inside the singularity if it's a singularity? That's not how singularities work.
It's Nagilum talking.
You're gonna love this episode so much.
Nagilum.
It's the Voyager.
Just saying hi.
I remember
Nagilum's
one
the
thing
one
from this,
who,
he
like,
says the
sets up
Voyager.
all of these
It's Nagalum.
Voyager episodes. He's just like whenever the ship runs into chaotic space or something, it's Nagilum's fault.
It's
The one
definitely-
reason Neelix is there for, he's completely useless. Have you seen this before? Nope.
But this is just a black hole. A star that collapses on itself becomes a black hole. Right?
Sometimes.
And becomes a singularity. It goes supernova, and then like it becomes a white dwarf, and then that becomes so heavy that it collapses. Like it becomes a.
I mean,
Completely accurate.
Oh, that reminds me of the Q episode that's in like season 2, and everything's just exploding because the guy doesn't want to kill himself.
But they don't want to call it black hole over here, so they just call it the quantum singularity.
A class 4 quantum singularity.
Why does it have to be a quantum
Yeah.
singularity? It's going to be
I mean,
a singularity. Just means that everything's concentrated at one point.
Well, it doesn't look like a regular everyday singularity. It doesn't look like a black hole.
It has an event horizon.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, guys, that ship in there is clearly your future self, and if you just turn around and leave, then it'll just cease to exist, and you'll be home free.
Oh, it's this episode. Okay.
We
Oh, I
can't
see.
tell yet that it's a future self.
I
'Cause
mean, that they put it on screen, it obviously was.
I mean, you're still squinting at it. It looks like a
We're
nacelle
squinting
type
at it
ship.
because the resolution is 240p.
Yeah,
They should be able to see it
But
just
look-
fine.
yeah.
No, but it's also distorted. Like even her audio message was distorted, so we can't make
still-
But it was
it.
obviously her voice.
Yeah.
I like to
Everyone
think
should
the
be like,
whole
"Oh my
reason-
gosh, that's your voice."
I like to think the reason they got stuck in this, they almost got stuck in the singularities because they just put a rock on the accelerator pedal, and then Tom Paris, whose job is to fly the ship, just went to that meeting they were in.
And so they're having their first. There's a lot of this is again. Kate Mulgrew gives us leadership lessons throughout the whole series, and this is one. It's like, why did you call Torres and ask her what to do? Because it was my job to call Carrie and ask him what to do.
A lot of them do actually have the training, Janeway. They were
They
officers,
have
and
the
then they just
ability.
left.
They have the technology. They have, what is it, $6 million?
I mean, he was like a Maquis
Robert
captain.
Beltran, the only Native American person on the show. Well, Robert Beltran isn't, but
He doesn't want to be a
Chakotay
token
is.
character? Oh.
Oh no!
What?
Wow, I can't imagine that.
What? Isn't Robert Beltran ethnically Mexican? Why?
Yeah,
Oh,
but
okay.
you know, a large portion of Mexican people
is,
have
uh,
a heritage that goes to native.
This is a
What you could call Native Americans.
Well, yeah, I'm just wondering, are we saying Native American as in like Native American in the sense that he was from an area in the United States, or just the Americas? Because both are Native Americans.
I think
Yeah.
the portrayal of indigenous peoples on the show was irredeemably stanky, and
A Kuchimoya.
yeah, and I don't think arguing about the nuance of it is going to somehow make it better in any way.
And we're not arguing, we're kind of
Yeah.
just stating the obvious. But
Loudly.
yeah. But it's funny here because he's like, I can't turn myself off. But he does somehow talk to them every once in a while. Oh, this is a great line by the doctor, by the
Like,
way.
it doesn't.
Doctor,
He-
what are you
eventually he
whining
learns
about?
to.
What are you doing? Anything else? Are you busy?
That's the thing.
Why do
it's
they
like,
just have these soil samples hanging around?
How could a
in
computer
sickbay?
program be
You
bored?
never know when you want to soil something, so you have to
like
keep the
every-
soil ready.
Every runny nose is my problem now. Oh, by the way, those glass shells, that's the same thing that Beverly was using when
Yes.
she was testing the
She grew some
when
moss.
everyone fell asleep, yeah, and then we knew
Well,
that.
there's Starfleet issue.
Remember that? You remember? Oh man, I'm just watching Star Trek Voyager. It just reminded me of all the episodes of Star Trek Voyager we're gonna have to watch as we make it through this thing. Remember that time when the Doctor becomes a singing sensation on an alien
What do you mean
planet?
have to watch? That episode's great.
Or the episode where he gets possessed by a fucking bomb.
That
The last
episode's
season
also
was all-
great. Why are you making
The
it out like
last
these are
season
bad
was all-
things?
Every episode was about
Dr.
the
Bomb.
Doctor before the show ended. It was kind of weird.
They figured out which of the best characters were, and they stuck with it.
Remember the episode where the Doctor writes Star Trek Voyager fan fiction? And
Is Robert
Yes,
Ricardo
all of
just
his
squatting
original
here?
characters are just
That's it. Also,
Or do they
also
put-
a great episode.
It looks
He's not
like
squatting
there's
anywhere. He's sitting in a chair right now, Robo. What are you looking at?
Yeah, but he was when he was
the same height
by the
as
rack,
Tess.
and she's like, "Oh, you're shorter now." Was he just squatting, or did they put her on a box? And
I
He
they
was
would have had to
probably
put
They
green
put her
the
on a box,
box.
probably.
because I
vote
see
squat.
even now that they have like a little thing around him. So I feel like there's a lot of green screen going on for him.
They built a scale. They built a replica of the sickbay set that's just slightly larger than the other one.
This is green screen. This is not.
I don't think. What do you mean? None of this is green screen.
Like
They're just in a set together
they're
talking.
Yeah,
they're
this is just
shrinking
normal
his
set.
image. Like they're imposing him seated. I feel like because his image is being contorted.
I think you're making that up. Looked fine to me.
All right.
Yeah.
There is going to be a lot of compositing later when he's all short.
The Doctor now is smaller than it was at any time since 1917.
So they don't feel themselves being tractored. So that's
Yeah, that's weird. That's the weird part. They don't see a tractor beam coming out of it at them either. Like
now they feel themselves being tractored, I guess, maybe. I don't know.
and wasn't this what All Good Things was about?
That was an anti-time anomaly. This is a quantum singularity class 4. Totally different things.
Yeah, everyone knows about anti-times. Come on.
When I say engineering,
I really want to stabilize these shots to show the shaking, but they're too zoomed in. I can't. It's just someone's face.
Voyager's bridge was very elegant in that they moved one seat to the back and have the helm just in front of the captain.
Remember. We need a remind me. It's really later in the show, but there's an episode of Voyager where they messed up, and like when they have like the monitors they use as screens, is they left the mouse pointer on it. In
Gotta
the
use a
shot.
mouse in the future.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that in this episode?
No, it's in like season 5 or something.
Okay, I'm not gonna remember that for the next year for you.
But about the Voyager bridge, I feel like they really had the money to make like a big set. Like you gotta love how it opens up. Like I feel like this Captain's Ready Room 2 is adjacent to the bridge also. Like I mean on set as well. Or no?
It might be.
Should be, right?
What is it
doubt
that's
it
so
matters
different about
much.
B'Elanna? I feel like B'Elanna's forehead ridges are sticking out more. Is that it? Her hair's different too.
I feel like it
But her
gets
face.
bigger in later seasons.
I think I found the thing you were talking about.
The mouse pointer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was about to post the same image. So yeah, we just have to wait till the end of season 6.
6 episode 20.
And we'll see a mouse pointer.
Okay, I just looked up a picture of new B'Elanna and compared it to old B'Elanna. This B'Elanna. This B'Elanna has 4 ridges on her head. Later, she only has 3.
Well, I want continuity in my Star Trek.
What
Can't let
happened to the
those-
4th ridge?
Can't let
Yeah.
the
Also,
minutia get by.
the other show had a black captain. This one has a woman captain, and now they're putting a woman chief engineer. When did Star Trek get so woke?
Yeah.
Doesn't like in one episode she becomes human again and then she's Klingon again?
Yeah.
They split her. They split her
that's what
Klingon
happened.
half and her human half.
Which is
They
definitely how
split it, and
genetics
she
works.
splits into like a starfish.
Maybe like the ridges change after that, like costume design or something.
Maybe. Have to keep an eye on her ridges.
There's a picture of her in a First Contact uniform. Where is that from?
It might
I
be
love-
photoshopped.
I love that, like, for this job interview, like, Janeway asked, "Why did you leave the academy?" And it's like, like,
Is it from the
it's a
finale?
human touch.
I don't know. Post the picture in Discord so we can look at it.
She's a great leader.
Yeah, emergency medical holographic channel.
Why is he so distorted?
White Putin.
I'm not distorted. This is how I am.
Okay, that
But she's
is
got
100% a
Lieutenant Commander
Photoshop.
rank tips.
That is a
Yeah.
Photoshop.
The best thing about Voyager is the Doctor.
It's
Yes.
just reducing his height. It's not even reducing his width.
Oh, can I?
That is comical.
The Class 4 quantum singularity, Captain. Be precise.
Yes, the quantum singularity that gives people headaches.
No, it's the Class 4 quantum singularity. Come on.
This is something that the Doctor was like, like, why aren't you telling me that we have new crew aboard? Why aren't you telling me that we're lost in the Delta Quadrant? Why aren't you telling me you're not on the ship? Like, he's saying, I'm always the last to know.
So
How come
rude.
they always had these cool outfits?
And like
They use
after a
in,
few
like,
episodes,
one
he just
episode.
goes into the Beowulf story with Janeway.
Yes.
Into the holodeck.
Oh, can I say
Another
the
Type
thing?
4 quantum singularity.
Whoa.
My God.
Well, now
So
that
they
we're
weren't already
watching,
trapped, so they could have just left. They were
No.
seeing themselves in the future.
Yeah. So now that we are watching Voyager, can I say the thing about how Voyager indirectly led to the Obama presidency?
Sure.
You've said it. Okay.
We've
Yeah,
had that
just
story
like,
a few times, but we can have it again.
Yeah, but like now that we're watching the show,
And then we can get it again when 7 shows up on screen.
all right, you know what? We'll save it for later.
Okay.
Let's
Save it
have
for
some
7.
dramatic
Save it for
build-up.
7.
We'll hold it for you. But this is as far as, again, we're in the second episode, so we're getting really good sci-fi. They're letting you know right now. This is Asimov level stuff.
The movable warp nacelles.
Why don't they just leave them up like that all the time?
Because something field
permanently put
geometry.
them that
It's
way.
fine.
They built it like
But
that.
you only use them while you're at warp anyways, so...
Yeah.
Every time
You
they
know how
go to
they-
warp, they're at a slightly different angle that you just can't tell on screen.
You know how you have a convertible on some cars? Because it's cool like that, man.
Well,
don't
convertibles
they
have a
flap?
function.
Why don't the
Voyager
Like
has
a
a
nacelles?
spoiler.
retractable does something.
Oh, we're gonna get a yes, ma'am?
Ah,
No, yes, ma'am.
Flapping is not cool. It's just lift them up a little bit.
I like that B'Elanna just doesn't get the job right away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just everything and everyone, like at least the few episodes, the first few episodes, like everyone is still just getting used to everything, but they just stop that plot after a while, and that,
I like that the first officer, the original one, he dies in like 20 minutes, 30 seconds into the episode. It's like he was not sticking around. And the original Doctor too, they're both so boring that like you don't even miss them.
They're not supposed to be memorable.
Mm-mm.
They're throwaway characters.
Just remember, Torres, I am the Lorax, and I speak for the trees.
like the
Is
first
this why
season
they
finale
killed
is
off
really nice.
Lieutenant Carey eventually? Because he's kind of rude.
Rude.
Yeah.
He's just bitter.
I am impressed with how Voyager's treating these secondary characters. Like, we'll see a lot of these people again. I'm like, they're playing the long game here.
This is a pretty big cast actually for even a first
There's
Star
no
Trek
Tracy though, which is just
There is no Tracy. And there is no Lieutenant Broccoli.
And I wish we had a Bajoran that like stayed Bajoran.
The Bajorite.
Isn't there a
Bajora?
Bajoran? Isn't there a guy that was like one of the people that Tuvok was working with that was Bajoran? Like a younger guy?
Hang on, I'm
Yeah.
looking up
think
Bajorans
so.
in Voyager.
In the
There's-
episode where he was working with 4 of the crew of the Maquis to try and get them acclimated to like
Yeah, that's the
Starfleet.
season 1 finale.
Yeah.
So Kess
It looks
turned
like
off
he's
the
about
doctor.
to appear in a music video with Kanye West.
Kess turned off the doctor. How did he turn himself back on?
Don't worry about it. Someone else came in and forgot to turn him off when he fixed the runny nose.
He sounds like a munchkin.
Mm-hmm.
He sounds
Probably.
like
Yeah,
he's,
I looked it up. There
Jaws.
are some Bajorans on Voyager.
he's gonna play some Roblox.
And nobody shows up to fix the imaging thing.
Season 7, nobody has fixed it yet. He's still 24 inches tall. He shrinks out of existence.
They have to. They need to put. They need to set his holographic projectors to Wumble.
You know what? I'm so glad they didn't call him Dr. Zimmerman, because that was the original name, because it was named after the creator and stuff. So it's like it's so much cooler to have a hologram.
Just the doctor. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they didn't get sued over just calling him the Doctor.
I mean, Doctor Who had been off
Oh,
the air for a fair while at this point, actually, and it wasn't really famous in America anyway.
I mean,
The
Doctor
new
Who
series.
predates Star Trek. It started in the 50s. But one thing that's really great about this scene is that Captain Janeway was a science officer under Tom Paris's dad when he was captain of some ship. And so her bond with B'Elanna is also the scientific aspect of it. So she appreciates her for being a smart gal.
But they're not that smart because they're still trying to communicate with themselves, aren't they?
Yeah.
They don't know that
They
yet.
haven't realized it's the Voyager.
Yeah, they don't know yet.
So this is B'Elanna gets this job. It's like the equivalent of a golf course handshake deal. You know, like
Yeah, it is. Also, like you said, because it's in TNG, it's correct to say the Enterprise and also Enterprise. So, but we never say the Voyager after like this episode.
Hey, is William
Thank you, Captain Obvious.
Hey, has William Shatner launched himself into space yet?
It's her
He's
hail.
doing soon.
Okay. Because fun fact, he would only be like what, the 4th Star Trek cast member to fly in space because of the astronaut cameos,
Oh,
and also I guess all the human remains that get sent up there. But we're not going to talk about those.
He'll be the first captain.
I guess you do say like it's the Melbourne, it's the Enterprise, it's the Excelsior. You could
Yeah.
say that,
No,
You-
but it
you
just
cannot
doesn't
say
sound
the
right with
Voyager.
Voyager.
yeah.
It just doesn't sound right with Voyager. That's
Too
the,
many, too many
I don't explain
syllables.
it's
I think
the
it's just
Voyager.
Things sell
The name of
Enterprise.
the name of the show is Star Trek Voyager. So I
Star
think that's
Trek
why
the
it kind of.
Voyager. Yes.
But originally when Mark Zuckerberg made Facebook, he wanted to call it
People
the
do say-
Facebook, and then the guy who started Napster was like, "No, it's not the Facebook. Just call it Facebook."
And that guy, Albert Einstein.
My God. Janeway, you look entirely too happy about this development. I feel like you should be more concerned about being pulled into a black hole.
Yeah.
We got a real ragtag motley crew, though.
Okay, the vibe I'm getting from this scene in Paris's description is that scene from Emperor's New Groove where Kronk pulls down the thing. It's like, well, by all accounts, it doesn't make sense.
But actually, Paris is 100% correct. But do you know?
Yeah, this episode. I'm with you, Paris. This episode makes no sense and is never
No,
explained adequately.
but
It's Star Trek. Fuck it.
The worst,
No,
the
this
worst
is how
part
the-
hasn't happened yet.
Go ahead. Sorry. The way this episode makes sense is that it's called the quantum eraser experiment, and somehow the results of the experiment foreshadow the act which initiates
Yes.
the experiment. And don't ask me how or why.
I like the other explanation where it's just Star Trek. Fuck it. That's probably what the writers said.
Much better.
Yeah. Punching your way back through the event horizon is such a painfully stupid idea that, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's
Warp
not that.
particles, though.
But Interstellar actually rips off this.
Interstellar.
I like to think in the writers' room like they're just writing episode 2 of the show, and they're like, you know what, fuck it, it's Star Trek Voyager.
Just credited at the bottom of the movie.
We're already not gonna care about this.
No, it's sci-fi, you know. So it's just giving us the wow factor for sci-fi. It's like,
You could things do better than that sometimes. I mean, you can have a wow factor without being painfully wrong about everything.
So that beam they shot out, it looked like it was coming from the deflector dish, but it looked like a phaser, but it was warp particles.
There's a reason why none of us remembered this episode.
Yeah.
A
The only thing
Dekion
I
beam,
remembered
you
was the
say.
doctor, but that's it.
I'm gonna
So-
look at the list of all the episodes in season 1 and see how many I can remember.
The TNG All Good Things was about the tachyon beam through the singularity, and this is about the dekion beams through the singularity.
Totally different.
Yeah, very different thing.
What do you mean you don't know the difference between a tachyon and a dekion beam? What kind of fat are you?
Yeah.
Yeah, and again,
Is
though,
Dekion even a thing people
it's what
talk
you
about?
do that
Maybe
initially. Yeah, I don't think we've ever seen dekions before or since. It's just something that, and the way it's spelled sounds really dumb too, like DEKYON.
I'm gonna be
Yeah,
honest, I have no
yeah.
idea what's happening in this episode.
Yeah, me neither.
It's the quantum eraser experiment.
No.
They're stuck in the
Wait, is that like an
gravitational
actual
fields of a
theory or
black
something?
hole, and to do it, they're shooting highly energized plasma at the event horizon to rupture the gravity.
And they cause
Yeah.
this thing by trying to tractor beam themselves through the quantum singularity.
Oh, I just looked at season 1, and I can actually remember somewhat clearly a majority of the episodes, actually. So props to season 1 of Voyager. I'm looking forward to seeing the Vidians.
Thing, you
Yeah.
know, they inherited a universe of TNG and DS9, like really well fleshed out, and they were trying to just run with the plot. Most of the same producers.
I mean,
Mm-hmm.
well,
So
not
how
really.
are the
'cause
Vidians more
they
body
went to-
horror than the Borg?
The
They're
Vidians were
horrifying.
criminally underused. I wanted
Yeah.
more Vidian episodes.
That's true though.
They actually
Yeah,
had
people
like
did.
they were some sympathetic antagonists.
Oh, that was an actual really cool episode.
The Vidians wanted full body transplants. I think the Borg would just add supplement to your organs.
But they were like drilling into people's eyes, and
Yeah.
they're still not as bad.
No,
to
that
watch.
was in Picard. That was in Picard.
No, that was definitely in TNG, one of the movies. Remember First
and
Contact?
Locutus had
Yeah.
a thing too. Yeah.
Yeah, but they never showed it like scooped out on a hook and ripped out with the optic nerve still attached.
Yeah. Yeah.
Honestly, the stuff with Icheb and his eye scooping was still less body horror for me than the Vidians. The Vidians are horrifying.
Yeah, the Vidians is pretty full on gore, vor, and all that.
Oh, I can
Vor?
see
Guys,
the
remember that?
No, that's a
I
different
don't
thing.
remember
We
the
don't
Vor.
talk about that on the
Vor
stream.
is something else.
No.
Never mind. Mute.
When they did that slow motion effect, there was a bunch of interlacing artifacts there. What was up with that?
Ryan, I'm glad you know that that's not something we should talk about on the stream, but that just creates more questions.
I've been on
remember
the
the
internet
lizard people?
before.
The hunter and the hunters, and there's this lizard guy that came to Deep Space Nine, and O'Brien was his friend.
What's with all
And we
the
never saw them
artifacts on
again.
screen?
That's what happens when you shake the camera, I guess. Maybe they like slowed down the frame rate and distorted it to make it a little bit more dramatic.
Make it look like the Doctor.
In these early episodes, Janeway really has some bug eyes when she's being all dramatic. That goes away.
Bug eyes.
Yeah, she holds her eyes really wide open.
I think it's more about the lighting.
You know what they should have done is they should have just sent the shuttle through, and then the shuttle can tell a Voyager not to fly into the singularity.
That is beautiful.
They're already screwed when they got the message. Apparently, this was their current thing anyway.
Wait, didn't TNG have an episode that was like exactly this, and there was a clone of the Enterprise in some sort
There
of?
were multiple episodes like that.
So there was Parallels with Worf, which is
Who believes in honor.
Duplicate shuttles.
Like, or was it the sisters or something?
Multiple Enterprises at the very end.
Yeah, alternate.
Yeah, no, I'm not talking about that one.
And then there was Cause and Effect with where they got stuck in a time loop.
USS Bozeman.
Yeah. And then there was the
so
what else was there? There's the one with the Yamato.
This thing is
if only one of these are real, what if we shot one of them with a low energy phaser?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
This is also reminiscent of the Picard maneuver.
Also, Ryan, weren't you trying to explain to someone yesterday about when you're on the left side of the ship, going port, and then when you're on the right side of the ship, you're looking right?
That's how directions work, yes.
Mm-hmm. I think this illustration would have been useful also.
Is there a way they could just call them up and be like, hey, are you real? And they're like, I am not real. And they're like,
or you could just ask, what is our position relative to you? Are we behind you or are we in front of you?
Yeah. They could just fly through the rupture they made and meet them on the other side.
And
is this a TNG shuttle?
Yeah.
How are you supposed to?
No, it's a Voyager shuttle, clearly, by definition.
Oh, look at all the shuttles in that hangar bay. There's so many.
What you don't know is the walls and ceiling are all just made of shuttles.
Where's Neelix's
runabout
spacecraft?
Voyager does not have runabouts, but they kept Neelix's
They had the
spacecraft in
Arrow
the
shuttle.
bay.
They had the Arrow shuttle that was going to use in the runabout set.
I love that master system display of Voyager that they have on the bridge.
Mm-hmm.
They had a lot of space. Great job.
We'll make it, because we have faith.
Thanks for the heart.
If this thing's collapsing, shouldn't we just go instead of sitting here
monologuing?
They couldn't find a way to end the episode, so they're just gonna go through the singularity.
If they fold the nacelles up, they'll have more space.
When you're in a black hole, just punch your way through.
This is not how black holes work at all.
Mm-mm.
I know.
Nope. You could do all the impulse power you want. You're not getting
black holes are pretty complicated, but none of this has anything to do with it.
Yeah.
The quantum singularity phase 4 directive. You just go through the crack.
The crack in the gravitational field that you used by flying through it.
Yeah.
Now, here's something semi-real. Stephen Hawking did say that information is not destroyed in a black hole, and somehow even if you yourself, your physical body went through the black hole, in theory, we could get information out and reconstruct
Yeah,
this.
but it's kind of
Yeah.
like taking a phone book and putting it in a blender and blending it with some water, and all the numbers are still there and names. It's just
Yeah.
you have to get it out.
Yeah, and also
I would make a paper mache pinata out of that phone.
yeah, that's what would happen. But
So
we got really great sci-fi.
if you fall into a black hole, you turn into a pinata.
We got really great sci-fi for 7 seasons, and this was just a harbinger for all that.
And
Is
Yeah,
she chief
after Deep
engineer now?
Space Nine,
I think
it's
she's chief
really-
engineer now. She did it. All right, good. She did it.
Yay for overcoming obstacles between 2 different groups of people.
in 2 episodes. Pretty impressive, man.
Do you think those office chairs that they keep in engineering just slide around all the time whenever the ship shakes and stuff?
So she never says, "I'm sorry for punching you in the nose," though.
Well, did he deserve it? Maybe she's not sorry.
Okay, it's just like, "I'll need you," and it's like, "Okie dokie."
I just realized that this guy's just like a discount O'Brien.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Like
Same hair.
Yeah. Oh, so he even got passed over for chief engineer yet again.
He gets
So
passed
B'Elanna
over for this
gets a
promotion, and then
promotion. Tom
6
Paris
years
gets a
later, he gets
promotion.
murdered.
And Harry Kim is an ensign for 7 seasons.
What's worse, this guy or Harry Kim?
Harry Kim.
Well, Harry
Kim
Kim
at least
dies
survived.
too.
Well, no,
Yeah,
Kim
Harry
doesn't
Kim
survive.
dies a couple times.
Honestly, I might rather be Lieutenant Carey.
He only has to die once.
Oh, there's the episode where like Kim goes back in time and back to Earth,
But
and
then
he just
that
Oh,
comes back to Voyager with Paris for no reason instead of staying there.
the Lieutenant
Yeah,
Carey that was from new Harry Kim's original timeline also died, but he was harvested by the Vidians. So that's worse.
yeah, it's pretty bad.
Which Lieutenant Carey are we talking about being here? Harvested Lieutenant Carey or shot Lieutenant Carey?
I hope it's shot one.
I don't know if I want to take the chance.
The best part of the episode.
Shouldn't they be fixed now automatically since it was being caused by the singularity?
Oh, so Paris was the one that was just turning him on and leaving.
I want Tom Paris to
Doctor's great.
pick up the tiny doctor and like swing him around like an action figure.
He's gonna join the Lollipop Guild.
I think on their podcast they brought in Robert Picardo to talk about how they did that effect. I don't remember what it was though. It wasn't what you would expect of them
optically.
just like grabbing it and shrinking it. They actually had him do something, but I don't know what.
All right.
Distorted rather than just like shrunk in one direction. Yeah. I guess
Okay.
top of his head was all big.
That's the last episode for today. The next one is Time and Again, which I remember actually. That's the one where they almost blew up an entire planet because they got curious.
They did blow it up. Yeah.
And so that's
Well, they blew it up in
3
an alternate
episodes-
timeline.
Mhm.
3 episodes down, 169 to go.
Oh, bad.
All right, let's see what's coming up next on Enterprise. Enterprise next week is going to be Strange New World with the rock people, these rock people, those rock people, them rock people.
Oh, man, that episode.
Unexpected, where people make fun of a male getting raped because it's funny when men get sexually assaulted.
God.
Like
And
Enterprise
Terra
is gonna
Nova,
be
which is
fun.
actually really good.
I'm looking at the millions of viewers for Star Trek Voyager episodes, right? And in season 1, Caretaker got 21 million. The one who just watched got 9 million. And then by the end of the season, they're at 6 million.
They hit record low numbers. Yeah.
I would like to raise a point of order, Ryan. briefly, the first episode of Enterprise, its closing credits scene does not end with Archer's theme. It ends with a specially made guitar version of Faith of the Heart. So I don't think we mentioned that or listened to it in our first stream.
Okay, well, everybody go back
Oh,
on your own
no.
and go and watch the ending of Broken Bow.
Raise the point of order for that. What the?
All right, so yeah,
Okay,
Yeah.
next week is Strange New Worlds Unexpected in Terra Nova. That's going to be on Saturday. And next Sunday is going to be Time and Again with a polaric explosion on Voyager. The
Oh,
Phage,
no,
where
not-
we're
not
introduced
that.
to the Vidians. And the Cloud, which is something I don't remember.
The cloud's the one where there's coffee in that nebula.
There's coffee in the nebula.
Oh,
Yeah, I think
yeah.
that's the cloud.
The crew enter a nebula to collect samples before realizing is it a living organism, but not before injuring it. Okay, it's a living
Yeah.
cloud.
Yeah.
Good to
Nagilum.
know. It's
It's
not.
Nagilum.
Not
Nagilum
everything's
has many
Nagilum.
forms. Nagilum's all around us.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, chat.
Nagilum surrounds us and penetrates us and binds the galaxy together.
Yeah.
Dear.
I don't want to think of Nagilum penetrating me.
No, that's not.
No kidding.
Jesus Christ.
It's the manner in which we
The stream's over. We're
propagate
leaving.
our
Go away.
species.
Go away. It's done.
Please demonstrate